What?
We're live! What the heck was that?
Oh,
so people are already turning us off.
Letting everyone know we're live.
Yeah, we're live.
You gotta turn that off or keep going.
You guys are annoying.
You were right about them.
What?
Anyway,
we're the best.
Yeah.
hey everybody,
Are we on? For real?
welcome back to the Untitled Movie Podcast. We're going to review Roadhouse, so stay tuned. It gets less annoying, I promise. I'm Andy Pagana. I'm Schwartzy.
I'm Justin.
And I'm Gio. Let's go.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Roadhouse.
Andy Redu here.
All right, so
Andy, welcome.
Andy, you introduce it. Let's talk about Roadhouse.
Let's talk about Roadhouse.
Let's go. Let's jump right in. So
The year is
Roadhouse.
1989. One Rowdy Harrington.
that was
Patrick
the
Swayze
first
can
one, yeah.
sell anything.
Well, have you seen the first one? Did you finally watch it?
I never watched the first one. But anyway, go ahead.
Don't.
It doesn't feel like 89. It feels like 85.
It does,
I
yeah.
don't know what
It's weird,
89,
first one.
85 is.
By the way,
Because it
we-
feels prime 80s.
We are
Yes.
going to be talking about the new one, just so you know.
Right.
Yeah.
But
Well, let's
we
just
could
go.
also
I
bring
can
it-
only
let's
have
set
the
it,
new one as a reference.
Okay.
All right, well, let's get right into it. Then,
Action.
All right,
And we're
All right,
back.
let's
well,
start with
let's set it
shortstop.
up. Let's set it up because
Yeah, you set it up because
You
we
set
brought
it
up
up.
from the last-
okay,
from the
let's-
last time from the last.
I
podcast.
wanted to talk about. It was the whole topic, right? One of our podcasts
Yes.
was about Roadhouse was going to go straight to Amazon, and the director was boycotting his own movie.
Right.
Yeah.
He wanted to be theatrical, and he said it was the highest testing movie MGM history.
And where did it premiere? Premiered at South by Southwest.
Premiered at South by, and he
Okay,
did show up for it, but he didn't get on stage or anything. He
so
just
he just went
sat
to
in the audience. Yeah.
And so when
Douchebag.
this first came out, we were all like pro Doug Lyman, pro Roadhouse, against Amazon.
The
right?
trailer was
Yeah.
great.
Well,
The
we were-
trailer was great.
And
we
all-
weren't against Amazon. We were just debating whether they made a right decision, why they decided.
It made
not
no
put it in
sense.
the theater.
It felt like it would be a big fun theater movie.
Yeah.
Right.
It felt like it was going to be the next Top Gun for me, the next Maverick. Right?
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
what
yeah,
That's
yeah.
what the trailer felt.
Because
That's
the
why
first movie
trailer-
is fun. Like, I never saw it in the theater, but like it feels like that would be a fun movie experience.
Yeah.
And then now it finally came out. and
And we're with
Wow.
Amazon on this.
Wow.
We are pro Amazon.
Yeah.
We wish they
Yeah.
didn't put it out at all.
yeah, yeah.
Nah, it wasn't. Look,
No,
it wasn't
right, I know.
that
Straight
bad.
to airlines.
It wasn't that bad, and it wasn't.
No,
look,
we've seen worse. There's
I
definitely,
just look,
there's
my
definitely
whole
worse.
thing. Here's my take. My take on it. I watched it, and again, because the expectations were so high, I was like, I watched it, and then I felt like there was good moments. Some of the fight scenes were pretty good, right?
Yeah, well, the
Some-
choreography, yes.
Okay, all right. So let's
Sure,
let's break it down.
Let's see where we agree.
Let's
right?
do one at a time. Okay,
One
go ahead.
at a
Yeah.
time. Yeah. So we don't talk. Okay, because I want to talk to you because he had mentioned the Rocky thing. So what did you feel on just from a 1 to 10, not too deep. in
From
it.
1 to 10?
From 1 to 10 on the
Big
fight
picture?
scenes, what would you give it?
No, on the movie.
Oh, on the fight
no,
scenes?
on the
Just the
fight
fight
scenes.
scenes?
Just the
All
fight
right,
scenes.
I would give it. I'd give it 7.5,
All
and
right.
the reason why is because I didn't like the POV, the first person. That was
Yeah,
a
it
waste
felt
of,
very like.
Yeah, all I can see is
I
the
don't know.
actor going like this to the camera, and I'm just like, yeah, what
All right.
are you
They only
doing?
did that a couple times,
But
it's still, I
the
hated it.
choreography was good though.
Sure,
right?
yeah.
Sorry. So the fight scenes
No,
were
but
good.
they added effects to this fight scenes.
Which was
Right.
painful, honestly.
They added like cartoony looking effects.
There was fake spit coming out. They connected the hits digitally, and it just felt like weirdly jarring. Like I've seen kung fu movies from the 80s made in Hong Kong that look more believable than what I was seeing.
All right.
to be
So
honest.
then you got to take your 7.5 back or not?
No, it was the
So
choreography. You
sad.
said the fight scenes. I'm talking
Well,
about
the
the movie,
Well,
right?
no. I said the fight
You
scenes,
didn't
not
say
the
the
movie.
fight scenes.
Yeah,
You said
yeah.
the fight scenes. So you still. I'm saying. So you're still giving the
7.5.
fight scenes.
They were
Okay.
fun, but
All right. Let's move on.
It felt like to me there was no stakes to
none
the fights at all.
except for Woody.
Right? Like
It was.
they
a
were
movie.
indestructible,
Yes.
right? Which just kind of takes away some of the fun from it.
Yep. And they happen too often.
The camera was weird on
Yeah.
on the choreography, how they shot.
Really
it.
wide.
Well, it was what he
wide
mentioned. It
and
was
weird.
Well, he was what mentioned. They put a
Well,
fucking.
there was
weird-
also-
They
there
line
was
clips to
one
kinda
guy-
hide that they're not actually.
There's
They
also
would do
each other.
fast. They would cut,
Yeah.
fast motion to the
There's
hits.
also one
Yeah,
part
where
in
they're
the
cutting frames
movie
out
in
or something.
particular, and this kind of says a lot about like how they shot some of the fights. Was like Conor McGregor goes, he says, "Oh, I have a message for you from your father," and he
Yeah, I didn't get
punches the guy, but it's like down, it's like upstaged, like the punch is like this.
Oh, he punches
Oh,
the
yeah,
and
yeah,
you
yeah.
don't even see it, and it completely was like, what the hell
And
just
it barely
happened?
he barely reacts to it.
And
and
it
that's
was
Conor
like,
McGregor
what
punching
just
you in the face.
happened there?
Yeah.
Well, he's also got. He's used to punching people for real, so it's a different.
Yes.
It's a different when you punch people for real, punch people for movie. But anyway, regardless. All right, so you're still sticking to the 7.5 on the choreograph
on the
fight.
choreography, sure.
All right,
Yeah.
I'll say the fights were about a 6.5 for me.
I'll give it like a 6. I'll give it a 6. Since you're asking us to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not asking you guys because you guys fight. You know what I mean? I'm asking Justin because Justin had an issue with the what's the movie we read? Rocky fight.
Oh yeah.
So I'm asking.
How could you have an issue
Yeah.
with
Listen.
Rocky fights?
Oh, because they're not good.
They're not good.
They're not.
Okay,
Well, no, they're
It's
not
such a
like
failure.
they're not like boxing matches.
No. The
Stop. We're not
movies
going-
are sure, but
we're
the
sticking
fighting
on
is-
this subject because every time you're gonna
Wow.
we're not going back to Rookie.
He was wearing a Rocky hat. so-
Anyway,
Yeah,
moral
this is
story.
Rocky's hat, by the way.
All right. At the end of the day, to me the fights. I just didn't think the movie was hyped up. My whole conclusion out of the whole thing is I understand why Amazon didn't release anything, and I don't think it tested as well as people say it tested.
Yeah,
I don't
there's
think
no
it
way.
did either,
There's
no.
no way.
Or whoever's being tested is
We
See, I
need
have
to
an
test
issue.
the testers.
By the way, I have an issue with
Yeah.
the whole testing thing. You know what I'm saying? So that's why it shows you testing has never developed whether a movie's really good or bad. It's just a bunch of people's opinions
Right.
that doesn't really represent the market. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But I expected something like Top Gun and Maverick, and it was nothing like that. I felt something like
Nobody even flew in a plane. It's
No,
crazy.
Maverick was nostalgic. If you're gonna remake
Yeah.
a movie from
True.
that era, right?
Yeah.
Maverick had a couple things, right? It was still new age, but it still had the nostalgic that the first Top Gun had,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So you kind of felt that, and you kind of felt the time. And one of the things I felt from Maverick, which I went to see in the movie theaters twice, was you had to see it in the movie theaters.
Yeah.
Again, going back to my whole thing was Amazon made a decision, and then I found out the piece of information that you told, which I'll let you kind of leak that information about why I went to theater because he was given a choice.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You told me that yesterday.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
at the same time, I was like, I don't think it was a theatrical movie, so I kind of agree with their comment. I don't even
on
think it was-
paper, sure.
I don't
yeah.
think $80 million movie for that too was. I don't understand where the $80 million went.
85
Jake
million.
Gyllenhaal, probably.
So go ahead. So
Well, so it came out recently. It was in Variety also that they were actually given the choice to make it for $60 million and they would guarantee theatrical release, or take $85 million and it's straight to Amazon. And they took the $85 million.
Which I would have done it too, by the way.
you had done 85 and gone
And
straight to Amazon.
yeah.
Why?
I'll tell you, because two reasons. Why? 85 million, I would have made a better movie. You asked me the reasons, right? 85 million, I would have made a better movie.
Mhm.
I
Well,
would've
would you?
put-
But
I
don't you
would've-
think
hold-
that means
hold on.
higher salaries for
Hold on,
everyone?
hold on a second.
You don't
asked me a
necessarily
question
mean
on
this.
this.
But
No,
that
no,
is
no, no,
So you're making a lot of
option.
assumptions.
Hold on a
Okay,
second.
okay.
You're asking me what I would do.
Okay.
You're not asking me what the assumptions are.
Okay.
85 million, I would have took $85 million. Yes, paid people more.
Okay.
I would, including myself, made a better movie, in my opinion. And at the end of the day, I know if it's a movie that's going to Amazon, way more people are going to watch it than people going to theaters. Especially,
But it would end up on Amazon.
It was going to end up on Amazon.
right? But I'm just basically looking at what
Interesting.
the theatrical market is right now, and I would make that determination. If you ask me right now, let's say any movie, you say, "Hey, I'll give you two scenarios."
Mhm.
Let's say it's the sequel to this one, and I'm going to give you $15 million if you do it for theatrical, or I'm going to give you $25 million. I would take the $25 million because I know at the end of the day,
All right. So what I would say to that is more money doesn't necessarily equal better movie.
Right.
yeah, 100%. We've
And-
seen that from Hollywood from the day one.
Right.
Right.
I mean,
I'm
like,
just telling you what I would do.
right.
But you said you'd make a better movie.
But
with
I would
$85
make a
million.
better movie with more money.
But you would still make a good movie with $60 million. What would make it better?
Yeah, an extra 15 million.
well,
Jake got more money. You got more money. What makes the movie better?
I would invest it in better sequences, better scenes, maybe an action scene that you couldn't afford. Maybe a $5 million action scene could be a badass action scene.
Mhm.
But like when you look at, you didn't see the original, but like, you know, there's a simple scene like fighting on the beach.
Yeah.
Right. It's just two guys fighting on the beach,
Yeah,
but it's
yeah.
kind of riveting. It's
Yeah.
a great.
Yeah.
You didn't need like all this stuff with the boats and
Oh.
the fights in the roadhouse with
Yeah.
things collapsing on them. I'm like, that more money did not make that better.
But that's on the filmmaker because then we can say
It
the
is,
same-
yeah.
Maverick had jets and flying, and it did make it better. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And it had more money, but it
Right, right, right. But I
it-
think
it
what
was
made that better was they just did things practically.
Well, you know what I'll say?
Right.
too?
Yeah.
I'll
That's
argue.
that's a money thing.
I would also say this is that when you're making something for the theater 100%, as a lover of cinema, I think that the artistic integrity of whatever you're looking at gets like heightened. It's like if you're making something if you're cooking food for, the best of the best, or people, you want to give people an experience. I feel like that experience, that shelf life kind of drops off when you already know it's VOD. So you're like, okay, I'll just make the best movie I can make. I wonder if making it for a theater like elevates. You're like, no, this needs to hit.
Well, he did. I just want to throw this in. That I also read that he shot it with IMAX cameras, and I think
this was.
Yeah, that's what they say. And I think that even though he took the 85 million,
you can't tell it's an IMAX.
I think that he took the 85 million because obviously you're going to take more money. And then he did what he did, which was like try to rally people to be like, this needs to be in theaters. He wanted to get both. He wanted his cake and eat it too. Right?
Yeah, he probably figured he was going to make a movie that they would put in theater.
But I'm going to jump off of what he said because there's something important because I kind of just experienced it. So boom, he said something. I do agree when people think the VOD, it takes, but that's our generation, right? And I'll tell you why. Because we remember what it was like when you would say, oh, my movie's getting a theatrical release, and then my movie's going straight to Blu-ray or going straight to streaming, right? That's changing. That model is changing, and that ideology. Young people, they don't. It doesn't snap the same as, oh, it's a theatrical gem, right? Number one, that's a theory. That's something that we hold and older people hold. Right. But at the same time, it's not translating to new generation. It's not translating as technology moves on. Number one. Number two, I saw The Bad Shepherd in the theater. I saw it at a 5.1 theater, right? And it was cool. I worked on it so much. It was cool. And I saw it with the guys from Savannah. Remember, I told you I saw it with the team. It was cool. But when I saw it in my house with the final mix and actually feeling it and feels like the same thing, like a big movie that I watch in my house. Like if I watch Pirates of the Caribbean, I was watching Pirates of the Caribbean. Scotty came over. We watched the movie. We put it up on Amazon. No, I think on the Apple, whatever, whichever one. But when I got to experience it, me and Scotty sat in the fucking couch for about, sat on the couch for about 10 minutes. I was just amazed at the sounds, the vibrations. Right. It was a different experience. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like I lost in that as a filmmaker. It didn't matter to me because I'll make a dope ass movie and take it to a film festival and be happy.
Right. But like when Surrounded came out, right, and I saw it in the theater multiple times. We saw it up at Sun Valley, MGM. Like I got a chance. Anytime it's screened and I was invited, I think almost every single one. I went and just watching it. I mean, it was shot for that. It was, and it translates to the little screen. I mean, you watch that movie. Sure. Mailer and Max did it. They did an amazing job making that look beautiful. But it looks shot for the big screen. Yeah. And you're, as an audience member, you are missing it. You're missing the opportunity to have this experience. Right, well, seeing this, way larger than life in front of you. And I would also say, just real quick, like, I would take the $60 million if the guaranteed theatrical, and I'd cut 15 minutes out of the movie. Yeah. It's like 2 hours and 15 minutes or something.
Oh my God.
That's a whole
lot. So there's your 15 million extra dollars that you don't need.
But you can't, that's not the scenario because you got to look at first of all, this first decision versus, right? And then, you're making that decision. I'm just saying, if ideally, if I tell you, what's the movie that we're working on? The Man in the Rearview Mirror. Right. Okay, I'll give you an example of that. Right. I tell you, I'm going to give you $25 million to make that movie. To make that movie, but it's going to go straight to Amazon, right? Or straight to Apple Plus or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Or I give you $10 million to make that movie, and you can go theatrical with it. What are you going to do?
I don't know. I mean, because and because I feel like Surrounded. Like my movie got the Shaft going straight to Amazon. I think it got completely the Shaft.
But they didn't promote it.
Well, we're not guaranteed that they're going to promote that movie and go straight to Amazon. If it's going theatrical, you're assuming, you hope you're going to see billboards, you're going to see advertising.
Depends, right? Though. You know what? Now here's the funny thing. I have not seen one Roadhouse billboard yet.
I have on Sunset.
You have? Right, because it's not. But it's also because it's not in theaters.
Yeah.
That's my point.
That is true.
That's my point.
Right,
but I didn't see.
I do have
they spent a lot of money.
I do have one thing to add. I watched Dune. So I saw Dune in the theater, but it was so close. I was sitting so close, I'm farsighted, so I fell asleep.
Okay.
So then I went to. So then I was like, but I kind of want to see the second movie. I want to see what Austin did because I heard what he did was fun. So I wanted to go see it. So I watched Dune on HBO, and then within like 12 hours, went to go see Dune 2 in the theater, and the experience was vastly different. First of all, feeling those helicopter, grasshopper things, and I'm sitting there in the seat like, holy cow. Or just like the landscapes that they've created where I'm like, no longer am I sitting there going, oh, this is CGI. I'm going, holy cow, like this is uncanny. This is unbelievable. And it just wasn't like I got goosebumps. It just was a very different feeling.
And that's two different films, though. He's also the reviews on Dune 2 have been that this movie's way better than the first one.
Yeah, well, sure.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Yeah, he fell asleep on the first one much earlier.
Yeah, I missed the whole end of the movie. Dude.
But I'm saying if you're gonna compare apples, I'm comparing apples to apples. I'm comparing the same movie, the same. And I agree.
It is a very different movie.
The thing you're not talking about is the audience experience of the theater,
but
which you'll never replicate.
I'm telling you, the audience is changing. That's what I'm saying.
No, but you'll never get the cultural impact of a movie. That's straight to a streamer because you'll never be sitting with an audience at home.
100%.
Right? That's why you love Top Gun Maverick. Everybody was into that movie.
I didn't know.
You saw it in the theater twice.
Right, but both those
theaters
were empty theaters because I saw it early because I didn't want to fucking sit with other people. I'm sorry. 2 for 2. I did so well on the last 4.
Honestly, an average movie with a good audience that's having fun with it is a great movie experience.
It is, yeah.
That you remember.
I'm not
Rocky
which is
Four.
what I'm not Rocky Four. I was like, in the theater is better.
But there is a flip side to that.
It is because the whole audience cheers.
But that's why this movie should have been fun.
There is a flip side to that though, because like, what was I watching in the theater? I'm watching this. No, it was Killers of the Flower Moon.
That's fun in the theater.
It was Killers of the Flower Moon, which by the way I thought was cast absolutely perfectly.
Really?
Yes.
Ellen Lewis?
I have no issues.
Ellen Lewis, I think.
Yes. So
she's great.
So I'm watching it. There was a scene in the movie where there was a really intense moment, and there was a kid watching the movie, and he was done. He was so done with it. And at this moment that the speech was given, this kid just goes,
wait, hold on. Why is there a child in Killers of the Flower Moon?
I have no idea, but
how many times have you been in a movie theater and people are talking and laughing?
It happens. And
that's part of the experience.
It is. Right, I agree.
It's getting to stop.
And the cell phones and stuff.
We went and saw Lawrence of Arabia once, and a guy took his whole popcorn and dumped it on our friend. He was so mad at him.
No. Our friend dumped it on him.
Oh, that's what it was.
I wish somebody would dump
Actually, that makes more sense.
It was amazing.
You would have punched
and here's the thing: like when you look at Lawrence of Arabia, it's a perfect example. Like it is I'm going to say a life-changing experience watching that in the theater, as opposed to watching it on your phone or watching it.
Listen,
I haven't experienced that yet.
I don't disagree that there's a theater experience, but what I'm saying to you is that not every movie deserves it.
Right?
And Roadhouse did not deserve it.
But he was trying. He made it for the theater.
Well, then he should have just took the $65 million and not like.
But that's what I'm saying.
It's kind of douchey by saying I'm still gonna make it 85, and it's gonna be so good that people are just gonna like have to do that.
Well, I mean,
I think so too. Try to manipulate it by making a campaign because come on, like you can troll now, right? So I feel like he was trolling, and again, I like it because the reason I like the troll, you know why? Because we're talking about it.
Right.
The troll is good because we're talking about it, but at the same time, you can't say, hey, this is my campaign. I'm going to do this now. I respect this hustle because it could have worked, but it didn't. Right. But you can't be mad that it doesn't. And then not to be on the Q&A of your own film when there's actual people who are worked on it and that spent money on it and that were responsible for it. And you've told me this how many times, do the best thing that's for the film. Don't do it. Because there's plenty of times I want to do things for me or not. Right? How many times I said, or whatever.
I'm like, do what's best for the film.
Right?
Yes.
And that sometimes means take your ego down, take your head down. And if it means for me as a filmmaker, if the studio did put money behind my thing, they respect you. And he's got a great career. He's a great filmmaker, all that good ass. Right? But at the same time, I would have either you're boycotting the whole thing by not showing up,
right?
Or if you're showing up, then show up.
Yeah.
So there is a possibility that maybe he was right, and if he had made a really great movie that they were confident, they would have put in the theater.
Yeah, I agree.
And
they do put movies in theaters.
So let's talk about the missteps for me.
Yeah,
I'll tell you what the number one misstep is.
Jake Gyllenhaal.
No, the first misstep. First misstep is stop making the same movie over and over again. Make original content. You're trying to make a movie from 1989. Like every movie that's out right now, we've seen
You
years.
just said Top Gun Maverick was a good.
Yeah, but no, that was a sequel. There's a difference to that.
Oh,
that's true.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And by the way, the same filmmaker who did the first one made the second one,
right,
and made it just as brilliant, so he gets a pass. He didn't remake. It wasn't like we're making
with
Top Gun.
Well, you mean Tom Cruise?
Tom Cruise
and Jerry Bruckheimer.
He made the same movie.
Yeah, not Tony Scott though.
No, but it's same filmmakers. Right?
Right.
At the end of the day, Tony Scott set it up, but
yeah,
like Tom Cruise is controlling it.
I
Everything that Tom Cruise is doing, Tom Cruise is
right.
the boss.
Yeah,
Don't get it twisted. I don't care who the director is.
But that's
Tom
why
Cruise running the
But that's
show.
why he has very few missteps.
Yes.
But
That's
he's
why-
all very calculated.
Yes.
And he cares about filmmaking so much.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
But I also believe that if they took Tom Cruise's movie, well, he owns the studio, but if they take Tom Cruise's movie and they put it on Amazon and he shows up at a film festival, he's going to show up for the rest of the people and show up on stage and do the Q&A.
Yeah, he's a class act. You're
Right?
damn right.
He's a class act.
He's
And
a star.
That's my
but
point.
I will say this: I don't think Tom Cruise will ever be in a movie that goes straight to VOD.
No,
not with the power.
No,
that
they
he's
pushed
got.
him to put Maverick straight to VOD.
Maybe when he gets older and he starts
He
playing
wouldn't
the
do
like
it.
old guys and stuff, but like that hasn't
But he
happened
also
yet,
owns
I
the
don't think.
studio right now, so he's control of everything.
Wait, so but let's focus though on Roadhouse.
The
They
writing.
shouldn't have done because we saw the trailer and we're like, yeah, this
Trailer
is
was
awesome.
amazing. Trailer was amazing.
So if it was that movie that we saw in the trailer, why not do a reboot if it works?
They could have. Look,
It's all
here's the-
execution.
They could have. It is all execution.
Yeah, because 21 Jump Street was hilarious.
That was fun.
That was fun.
Yeah, that's changing kind of the tone.
Right. To me, again, like I think the number one. You look back now, I would love to have been an '80s period piece. Would have been fun.
Oh, yeah.
right.
It would've been great.
Yeah, that would have been great. I didn't think of that at the time because I was just, ready for this fun based on the trailer.
Yeah.
I thought Jake Gyllenhaal was completely miscast.
I do too.
He played it so dark.
Yeah.
They made his character really dark.
Yeah.
But
he didn't back it up either. It was like he's this dark guy, but he's got this baby
he's
face.
smirking.
But he
doesn't
also
line
just
up.
lacks
Yeah.
charisma to carry a film like this.
In the movie, though.
In the
'Cause
movie.
he's so charismatic.
Yeah,
which makes no sense.
I don't know.
why.
I don't know where you see that. I haven't seen.
what?
He's
His charisma.
He's
What
actually.
roles? In what role is like charisma?
Yeah.
What is it?
No, I mean like charisma, like in interviews and stuff like this. Like,
But he's
good.
good.
He's got charisma. He's got the riz. Are you kidding me? It's Jake Gyllenhaal.
Nightcrawler.
I like
was
him in
amazing.
All That
Matters
Matters
is what
Crawler,
you
but that
are.
was. But he played a creepo.
Yeah,
Yeah,
super
yeah.
dark.
Gyllenhaal.
Jake Gyllenhaal.
Yeah.
I think Gyllenhaal's a great actor. I'm actually impressed with him, to be
But I'm
honest.
just saying. So like when you watch these movies, like it's supposed to be like you watch yourself.
Nightcrawler.
You wanna be that character.
Yes.
You wanna be like when you watch the Patrick
Yes.
Swayze, you're like, I
Yeah.
wanna be that guy.
Even
Oh, he's the coolest guy?
Clint Eastwood was cracking jokes in Fistful of Dollars, Few Dollars More. You might as well get 2 coffins. Like it's just like that charm. It was there,
They
and
tried-
Gyllenhaal just played an idea
They
and
tried
didn't
it.
drop
You
in.
know
They
what?
tried it.
You
It
know
did
what?
not work.
They tried it. It did not work. But you know who I think stole the show for them, and that's the problem. Is that when Conor McGregor was just cracking those jokes and being such a troll,
Yeah.
I think that just sucked all the energy out of the room, and I think he
Yeah,
owned
it was like-
and I think
he was
think,
in a different movie.
yeah, but I think
He was in the right movie.
I think he stole. I think he stole the show in that sense, in the sense of like the. I think he showed up on the set, and he stole all the energy.
Yeah.
And that was it. There's some people
Right.
that have that. Like 50, he can steal all the energy, and there's nothing you can do. It doesn't matter who you are. You're not gonna outshine this person.
Yeah,
You know
yeah.
what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
but Connor's a small part of it, right?
Yeah, and
Yeah,
by the
but
way,
stole
he
the
shows
show.
up an hour and 14 minutes into the into the 2-hour-long remake of a hour and a half long 80s film.
Yeah, but he's a henchman. He's not even like the main villain.
right.
Like Jake is in every scene, right?
Yes.
Right.
So if he doesn't work, the movie doesn't work.
Well, and that was the first
I don't
note I
think he
had.
didn't
5
work.
minutes
I
into
just
the movie, I was like, I don't know how he's going to do this. Like there has to be another color. Otherwise, this is going to be one note the whole movie. And then it got to the point where it was like he hits somebody and he's like, I just broke your trachea. You're going to have a hard time breathing. And It's just like, man,
Yeah, you're the nice
I don't.
guy.
But I'm not
from.
So it's like, so here's the thing. Like this was another fault for the
This
movie
was a
for me was
fighter.
Yeah, but
the movie starts and you've got this guy who's invincible, right? So you've got a character who has no flaws. Even Superman has a flaw. But I guess they're trying to make it that like his flaws is that if he loses his temper, he can be really dangerous.
Right.
Which, by the way, like that's I guess
There's a
what
lot to
everything
that.
is leading up to. So he's now gets hired to go work at this bar and save it for $5,000 a week, which is mental.
Which is why did he
And-
get hired?
And which way? But
Of
here's
all
the thing:
people.
he's sitting at the bar, and every time he's at the bar, it's like, oh, there's 13 people over there, and 8 of them are fighting. Oh,
he's
there's
just watching.
14 people over there, and he says, "Hey, you who can't fight, go sort this out. Hey, you who can't fight, go sort this out." And there's fights every 5 seconds to the point where when he gets in a fight, you're just like, I don't give a shit anymore. I
Right.
really, or I don't care. Sorry. He's like, I
Are we
don't
letting
care.
it go? This,
Yeah,
this
we're
podcast,
doing
we're letting it
At this
go.
point,
Yeah.
No.
Roadhouse made it so bad.
this podcast could go
I just-
itself.
I just honestly think it just wasn't. Again, it wasn't a movie that needed to be remade. And also, by the way, the Roadhouse concept. I don't know what the '80s were like. But
Well, no, the original
Right.
one is ridiculous.
Yes, it is.
It
That
is-
is, there's
it
this
is-
legendary cooler that people, oh, that's Dalton. Like,
Yeah,
people
yeah,
know.
yeah,
Do you
yeah.
know a bouncer, a famous bouncer anywhere?
It was.
But that's it. Also,
No,
like
you
it
don't.
felt like the times, though.
Steve
Like
Sherpa was. That was. He was the head of the.
Isn't that the guy
Vegas.
that ended
the
up
big guy
with-
from Sopranos?
Okay, there's one.
but that's why.
also the guy from Steve from the show. What was that
Vin
show?
Diesel.
But that's
Yeah,
why I
yeah.
thought it would have been great as a
Yeah.
period movie because, like,
Yeah.
it felt very of the time.
Yes.
and
Yeah,
there's also
It
like,
felt like an '80s
and-
movie.
It knows what it is.
and when you watch those, like the original, there's so many great little lines in there, like
Oh, yeah.
sweeping up the eyeballs.
Yeah, yeah,
you know,
yeah,
at night. You know, it's just
A
like
lot of homoerotic stuff, too.
So,
Gio, you're gonna love it.
Did you watch it? The Conor McGregor guy, that one, the henchman that he fights at the
Oh
end?
yeah.
He's like, I used to
Oh.
F guys like you in prison.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah,
That's
right.
like the badass line in that
Yeah,
movie.
yeah.
You're like,
So-
when you think about it, you're like, wait, what?
well, here's another badass
That came
line.
out of nowhere.
Here's
Yeah.
another badass line of the movie. The lead actress and Jake Gyllenhaal are sitting on
Oh,
lawn
God.
chairs
Let's get into that.
on a little sand mound in the middle of the ocean.
Oh,
there
she
is-
was miscast.
there is
completely.
Wow.
nobody around them for miles anywhere, and they're sitting there. And she looks at him and she says, "So tell me about you."
No, tell me where you're from.
Yeah, and he goes, "Who? Me?"
Yeah. I know, they're like, and you're looking just,
Wait.
just the horizon.
I was-
Wait,
Also,
you
the
wrote
camera,
this?
they're
This-
sitting there,
this
and the
is-
camera's
yeah.
going like this around them,
Right.
all choppy. Like, what?
Oh,
They have no chemistry.
Who?
No.
She's
Me?
miscast.
Well, she's
Kelly Lynch in the
You
original.
know why they casted her, right? I learned why they
she's
casted
got
her.
great eyes. Yeah, her,
She's gorgeous.
Oh,
she's
yeah.
beautiful, and I'm pretty sure she's a great Portuguese actress. But it doesn't
Her
come
accent
over.
was driving me crazy.
Her accent drove me crazy. But here's the thing: in reality, this is how these movies are made. So if you get a hot Portuguese actress that's killing in Portugal, you probably get X amount of money for that territory.
All right.
Oh,
Like,
sure.
this is happening right now because I'm dealing with it right now. So they're like, "Oh, get this German guy." I'm like, "This German guy would make sense." And they're like, "Yeah, but he'll get you this amount of money for the ball for East Germany or whatever, or East
Right.
whatever
Yeah.
the East Bulwark with the Balkans or whatever the hell
Yeah.
that is called." So my point is, I understand why they did that. They probably got more money internationally for her because then it would be hot in Brazil, but in Portugal and probably Brazil, the territory of Brazil. But she's hot, she's beautiful.
Pointless. She's barely in
But
it.
she's
yeah.
and she's but the thing is, like,
Serves
you're
no
not
purpose.
finding that girl in Florida as
No.
a nurse. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Like, we'll go back to The Town, right? The movie in The Town. The girl from who was the girl? What was the girl that was the lead from The Town?
Rebecca-
Brie Lawson.
Oh,
Brie
Blair.
Larson? Brie Larson?
Brie
No,
Larson,
no, no,
right?
no,
Yeah.
No.
Yeah,
No,
she was in The
From
Town.
the town. No, it's Blair. It's a Ryan
The blonde-
Reynolds' wife.
Yeah.
Oh,
she was in Gossip Girls, or what girl? She was in a kiddie show.
Blair.
like-
Somebody tell us.
Yeah, I'll look it up.
Blair something.
Blair.
Brie Lawson.
No, it's
no, Ryan Reynolds.
Jamie. Can you look this up? For
Yeah,
us?
There she is.
Blake Lively.
Blake Lively. Blake
Okay.
Lively.
All right, but in The Town, right?
Captain
You take-
Marvel.
Okay, but
Brie Larson.
Blake Lively. But before, was she in The Town, right? She
Yes.
was in The Town, right?
Yes, Blake.
She played
Just the cracked out one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Her character. What I'm saying is, you took somebody from the Gossip. Was she in Gossip Girls or one of the things?
something
One
like
of
that,
the shows. But my point was, you could understand. You could believe it. You could believe how she's white trash. You could believe how she's a drug addict. You could
Yeah.
believe. I didn't believe anything in this movie.
No.
Right,
None of these characters.
The little girl who's like, did you see Fred? Who's Fred? Oh, Fred's a tree that grows out of the thing. I wrote a book about it.
I didn't even understand that. Yeah.
But also,
and then she's the one that says like, oh, this is a Western. You're like, okay, we get it.
Yes.
So
by the way, if you watch that movie, after she drops that Western line, like you're like a character in your own novel, like a Western or something. Everybody in that movie for the next 5 or so minutes talks like they're in a Western. They're calling each other partner, like some cheesy West. And I noticed it when I watched it the other night, and I was like, what is happening right now? What is this freaking movie?
Right in the beginning, that came up, and I was like, is this awful?
Yeah.
Because I was expecting it to be really good, and I was like,
yeah,
here I go hating movies again.
Right.
Like, here I go, I'm going to be the hater, the lone guy going, this movie's garbage.
No, that's what, when we had the conversation yesterday, like, oh, by the way, that was the first thing I said to you. I was like, by the way, I saw Roadhouse. What were you guys talking about?
I hate it. Yeah.
I was like, what are you guys talking about?
We didn't know. We
didn't
know.
Here's the thing.
We were led astray.
Let me ask you a question. What do you think was wrong with it? Like, do you think besides the mistake, but like, why did you take such a dope ass filmmaker and you take, obviously all these people are talented in their rights, right? Like you can't. No matter what you say about Jake, Jake's still a talented guy.
Yes, he's incredibly talented.
He just miscast.
The
directors,
like Ryan Gosling, like that's him in Drive, basically. But the difference between Gyllenhaal and Gosling is that Gosling, without saying anything, still gives like a sparkle, like some charm.
Yeah.
There's something there that you're like, I have to keep watching this
like
guy.
The Fall Guy trailer.
The
Fall Guy trailer.
Yes.
Like, I want to see that movie.
Yes.
And in a theater.
Yes, and Gyllenhaal
seeing it in a theater.
Gyllenhaal played an idea. He played the tough guy.
Yeah.
And I just was like, I mean, I think where it comes to a fault is that it felt like the production was in some way, shape, or form like surrounded by yes men. Like it just.
I don't think it was too Hollywood, meaning that
too many writers.
Too many writers.
You can tell. You can tell this scene was written by this writer. This scene was written by this writer.
That's what was great about Independence, right? There was one script, one writer, one director, one thing.
Yeah,
and that was it. And
everybody had their lane.
Right.
And we're too polishing two things. So this guy comes and polishes. This guy comes and polishes. This
do a comedy pass.
And it's like let's do a comedy pass. Let's do this.
You feel it.
And that's the problem. It's like you're taking again. The studios are taking the power away from the filmmakers, so the filmmakers go and make. I don't know. It's hard because I've never been at that level. I want to get to that level, but
I heard Zack Snyder talk about this actually. In a podcast
about
the
studio just takes all the love out of it.
I've been so hard on just him, particularly as a filmmaker, and I listened
because of what he's done.
Right, but yes,
he
but
started
then, like listening to him talk for like 3 hours uncut, and I listened to every single thing that he said, and there were some things I agreed with and some things I didn't agree with, but. What's interesting is that the reason why he's now sort of synonymous with this Snyder cut is because he takes these really ambitious projects and he wants to go against the grain. Like he was talking about Batman, Superman, and how that movie ended up having to get cut so much because the studios kept saying that they were going to give it an R rating because they didn't like that Superman was fighting Batman. But if it was anything else, they wouldn't care. So it's like now you're dialing back like what really the story that should be told for the story that's going to get told.
By the way, a rated R Batman and Superman movie
would have crushed. Yes. Now I'm not saying that movie would have because I didn't particularly like that one.
There was nothing good about that.
Right. But what I'm saying is that when they start like dipping in, like for example, Rebel Moon. Well, like for example, Rebel Moon, right? So Rebel Moon, I have no interest really in watching it. I saw a fight sequence from it the other day that was kind of like a side scroll where I kind of was like, oh, I didn't know that this was what Rebel Moon delivered. This looks kind of crazy. Now, hearing Zack Snyder talk about Rebel Moon, he released a version of it in November. That was the Netflix version. This was his deal. I get the money that you guys give me. I'm going to release your version, but I want to release my version. And a rated R version, and I'm going to do it later. Is that cool? They're like, yeah, sure. So he's releasing the version he wants to release, and it's rated R, and that comes out like either the summer or next month or something. I can't remember. Again, though, it's like,
is that going to make it better?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Oh, they swear?
I don't know. But
nudity.
the reason I brought it up is
Well,
because
we're making one version that's a dope version.
right.
Yeah,
That's
yes.
what John Ford would do
Right,
when
but
he was like, "You're going to direct How Green Is My Valley." I don't want to direct that. You're going to because you're under contract. Okay, and he makes a friggin' brilliant picture that wins Best Picture.
Sure.
And it's one of the greatest movies of all time.
I get it, but you're talking. When was this made?
For the 50s.
Okay, so you're talking about a time when
the director mattered.
Well, but not only that, but the studios were run by people who cared, and now it's like the son of, or this, or somebody gets brought in,
or
and
an
it's
internet
like,
company called Amazon,
or an internet company that doesn't even sell.
But what
movies
is
or,
what do you think Zack Snyder cares about?
Well,
because to me, I feel like he kind of cares about pissing off the people who are fans of the movies that he's making.
Well, so this is
let's kill Jimmy Olsen.
this was part. So this was part of the interview that I saw that I didn't agree with. So he goes, it's like camp in comic book culture for Batman. He can't kill, right? So he goes, now I hear that, and as a storyteller, I want to make him kill. And now I'm going, okay, but here's your guideline, dude. Like, this is what makes him him. If you can't creatively figure out a way to make this interesting within the parameters of this sandbox, then you're not doing it right. It's like, what did they say? Like, if a comedian gets up and says a joke and it pisses you off, they haven't done their job. That's not what comedy is. Comedy is they say something that pisses you off, but you laugh. That's what a good comedian is. And it's the same thing with filmmaking. It's like, you can play these ideas, but if you're not seeing this through, if you're not following through, if you're not connecting to like why we're telling this story, it's going to get lost, and people are smart. Audiences are so freaking smart now.
Yeah, they are, but I
just you don't like you just want to like break all the rules. Like, don't do something else.
Exactly.
Right.
That, or write your own Batman.
Yeah,
like
there you go.
make it Catman.
Well, he did that with Rebel Moon.
Well, he did it
Right.
Yeah,
well,
but
the version that's out now, yes, is not.
Wait
I don't
for the
think-
R-rated version.
Now I don't know.
It'll
I
be
mean, maybe it will be different. I have no
R-rated
idea.
garbage.
I don't think. Listen, Netflix ain't changing their thing and saying, "Oh, you make it an R, make it." Netflix doesn't care. You know what I'm saying? They got they know they want an R. They want, you know what I'm saying? They're in a platform where they can say whatever, show naked bodies, do whatever they want.
But they had notes for him with Rebel Moon. That's why
the
it was
problem.
part of his
That's
deal.
the problem.
Right?
There's too many cooks in the kitchen.
Yes.
That's sort of
Yes.
we're at the point where it's like when you go to a restaurant, you're like, okay, what's the chef? I'm going to this restaurant because the chef. You're gonna used to go watching movies because of the director
Or the actor. The star.
But the thing is,
Right.
here's the thing, and this is what's going to happen to the movie industry. It's happening the same thing with the music industry, right? All these people, it's going to go back to the reason why we go and see a Tarantino film. It's going to be that. It's going to be, we want to see a Tarantino film, or we want to see a so-and-so film. And there's going to be a new age of people that are going to come up that are going to be influencer filmmakers. That's where it's going to go. And they're going to be making the films because they're going to say the studios are going to get to the point they're going to realize, okay, I got an $80 million movie that's going to get streamed. That doesn't make sense. I got $1 million movie that's going to get streamed. That's going to make sense. So we're going to take this $1 million movie and let the filmmaker make whatever they want to make because he's the one who's going to bring the following and he's the one who's going to bring the thing. I just think that there's too many cooks in the kitchen, and that's what's making these big movies because everybody's got to say a piece to help to make their job relevant.
But look at this Roadhouse, right? Like, yeah, I'm sure there's a bunch of executives or whatever. But my guess is, especially with Doug Liman's track record, they kind of let him make at least his movie. Yeah. Right. So if they hired another writer on it to punch some stuff up, that's Doug. That's Doug agreeing with that. And and he, him and I'm sure Jake Gyllenhaal's got a huge, say in how this movie
Joel
was
Silver,
going to
although
go.
they fired him.
And Joel's, they did.
Why did they fire Joel?
Fired him. I don't know exactly. I know he got fired.
I was disappointed when I saw his name pop up at the end.
But that's a big deal.
I love Joel Silver films. Like when I grew up, his martial arts
he
movies.
did the first one. That's
I
why
loved them.
he probably contractually had to be part of this.
Oh,
movie.
interesting.
Yeah,
interesting.
So,
well, who fired him?
Amazon.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know. If anyone knows out there, let us know.
So I have a feeling that like there's a good portion of this movie is exactly the movie Doug Liman wanted to make.
Oh yeah,
right, and is happy with how this movie came out. So yes, I think there's a lot of issues with that. But when Zack Snyder's making his Batman movie, or Doug Liman, let's just stick to Roadhouse. Doug Liman's making Roadhouse. That's the movie he wanted to make within reason. Right, and they probably said, "Oh, you need a little girl, or we got to hire, maybe." Your boss has got to be, this person, right?
Or the Portuguese actress.
Right. Or the Portuguese actress.
Got to do these
things.
Within
that, You know, I bet a lot of that was just like, you know, you guys do what you want. And what they did was kind of a mess.
Yeah,
it was just a mess.
But
and I do think if it was Ryan Gosling as the lead, like it would have been a completely different movie.
I think so too.
But completely different.
it would have been better, more watchable, but it's that same script, right?
Maybe
it's
same
script was awful.
I still think you're putting too many cooks in the kitchen. And same thing is like, why are we making a movie from 1989? Why can't we make a new? There's so many good news stories.
Yeah, but if somebody said, "Here's $85 million, figure out how to make Roadhouse," you'd figure it out, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Also,
but it depends where I'm at.
From a marketing perspective, though, also like nostalgia is selling like crazy right now.
But the only nostalgia. Hold on, but the only nostalgia to that was the title.
The title, yeah.
But
that was it.
But hold on a second. He's got a great nostalgia selling. I'll tell you an original story that was nostalgic and if sold and it was crazy was Stranger Things, right? That was mad nostalgic, but that was an original story,
yes,
right? Yeah. So you can make original people. Again, same thing with Maverick. It was nostalgic, but it was its own new story, and it was.
You don't even need to see the first one to see.
No, I never watched. I didn't watch the first one either.
Right.
I didn't watch the first one till I tried to watch the first one. It's too aged for me. This new one.
Yeah, I get it.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like I'm not the guy who goes back and I'm like, oh, these movies too aged. It doesn't seem to. You know what I mean?
Right.
For some reason, the 70 movies are different. Like The Shining, I could go back and watch. Like Rosemary's Baby, I could go back and watch. Those movies are. There's something about the aesthetics in the 70s that was interesting. 80 movies. They weren't good. They're just.
It was an interesting time in movies for sure. It was certainly a strange like decline, and then it picked back up.
Well, they were trying. Like Dean Cundy shot the original,
right? And Michael Kamen did the music.
Yeah, right. It's like, it has credentials.
Yes.
Swayze's coming off Dirty Dancing.
Oh yeah.
Joel Silver was coming off Die Hard. Right, that was his next movie.
And the actress. Oh my God, she
Kelly
is
Lynch.
gorgeous. Yes.
Yeah. That's
Kelly
also,
Lynch.
Kelly Lynch. Yeah. Also, that movie, like this movie's rated R, right, for violence and everything, because like we're okay with that now. But that movie's rated R for violence and a lot of nudity.
Oh yes.
There's boobs and sex.
But that was what 80s was, right?
It was 80s but like if
that was
you're
the
gonna
only
do
way you were gonna
Roadhouse,
see it.
that was like part of Roadhouse, right?
It should have been.
It should have been part of Roadhouse.
Well,
there's no sexuality in this.
Were you the
Roadhouse.
one who told me that they won't let what's his name when he wanted to play the Penguin, he wanted
Colin
to smoke.
Farrell?
Yeah, Colin Farrell. They wanted to smoke a cigar because the whole Penguin was smoking a cigar.
Yeah. No, they had to axe the cigarettes.
They're not allowed. Yeah, they
But
wouldn't
that's
let them.
stupid.
Yeah,
it's stupid. Yeah,
you can shoot 50 people in the head.
Yeah,
but smoking a cigar is an idiotic problem.
Right.
Well, look, try to find a picture of Walt Disney smoking a cigarette. The guy was a chain smoker.
That's a little different. That's a lot. I understand that, but that's,
it's the culture. It's like they've all been.
But that was also Disney himself didn't want that. Right.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So this is different. This is a character who's known for doing this, and there's no reason. You're not promoting smoking by having the Penguin smoke.
First of all, Disney and Warner Brothers have nothing to do with each other.
Right.
Number one. Yes. Number two, the Penguin's character in every comic book, you know this more than me. He's got a cigar. He's famous for cigar.
The long cigar.
Or a cigarette. Whatever. It doesn't matter. My point being is like, this makes no sense. We're in a time and age where these decisions make no sense.
No. And they're ruining movies.
A car flipped over and almost died. A big fire. People died.
Yeah.
And you're worried about a cigarette.
Right. Well, now this is an interesting thing, right? Like in terms of like where celebrity or movie star is at right now. Like the superhero movies essentially replaced the celebrity or the movie star with the superhero. You weren't going to see, a Robert Downey Jr. movie. Dr. Dolittle, you went to go see Iron Man, right? Yeah. Now that's shifted because he's rebranded and everything. And like, he's now back, doing this thing again. But what's happening now because there's too many cooks in the kitchen now, it almost feels like they're not even giving actors or actresses an actual shot at being stars. Because in order to be a star, it means that you need to be in one successful picture after another, so that people go, every time I see this movie, like Tarantino, who's like 9 for 10 or 8 for 9 right now. That's why it's the mentality of like buying an album, right? You would pay the money to go buy an album, and maybe there were like 2 songs on the album that you really wanted. That's what you were paying for the album for. And then you got to learn the other songs, and you would listen to this artist. Then they would release another album, and it would be the same experience, and it's great, and you become a fan. But then they release one bad album, and you're like, what the hell? What's going on here? And it's the same thing. It's like these actors have this trajectory where it's like They're making great films, and then all of a sudden they're in another studio picture where it's like, look at Sydney Sweeney right now. She's talking about Madam Web, and she's like, nope, that was a brilliant business decision because it allowed me to make this other film. Okay, great. But it still sucked. And you've tainted your track record with this, like what they were talking about in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. If people see the actor get beat up all the time, they're not going to trust him as somebody who's going to walk on camera and fight and kick some ass. It's an audience perception. And it's really being frigged around with right now.
You know why?
Yeah.
I'll tell you why, Justin, because the studios and actually a bunch of filmmakers, because this actually came up right now this week, right? They're tired. They were tired, and you're right. The brand is no longer. We're not spending all this money to make the actor the brand, and then the actor has all the control, and then the actor gets to act like an ass, and the actor gets to push everybody around and be a bully, and actually control our film, right? So the studio said, you know what? We're no longer making the actor the brand. We're going to make the project itself a brand, so we can control that brand.
Yeah, but
now that's the actors, because a lot of actors look.
Well, look what's going on with Jonathan Majors right now. Well, that guy was set up for success, and then it was like one after another. His team leaves him, and now they're slowly starting to build. Here's a picture of Jonathan Majors with his girlfriend at this premiere.
Well, and it's just like, you're not talking about why his people left him.
What?
No. Well, no. I figured it's assumed why everyone's leaving.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
what I'm saying is that they had him as the villain in a big Marvel picture. No, I'm just saying they had him pinned as the villain, the next big villain in the next big Marvel picture, and then he does this thing, and it ruined how many people's plans for success for this thing.
No.
Now they got to take him out of the picture.
Let me say,
do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, but let me add to that, because that one was wrong. There's video of him running away from that woman, right? Let me say something right now. There's
the legalities.
Well, no, but it is, because here's the funny part. The dude from Flash,
oh yeah,
did a lot worse.
Oh, that's true.
A lot worse, and they ran with it.
He did. Yeah.
Well, they ran with it.
Well, the movie was done.
But this
is
is
no choice but to run.
But this is why I brought it up. It's part of the liability.
No. They're talking from this point on. They're talking from this point on.
Yeah, but you know what? They could have, if Marvel wanted, they could have covered. I don't know, that whole Jonathan Majors, because the thing was,
but regardless of the specificity of it, I'm just saying that the power was in his hand to deliver. He did this movie Creed, crushed it, and now he was going to be the next big villain, and everyone was like, yes. And then this happened, whether he did it or not, it happened, and it ruined everything. And they've got to now play catch up.
Well,
so we can't invest in this.
That's why they don't want to invest in the actor no more.
Right.
But at the end of the day,
what you were saying.
But the decisions they make is very funny, because again, there's people that made way worse and let them go. I mean, I don't know, like the whole thing about this whole studio system and the whole, like,
they pick and choose.
They pick and choose, and again,
yes,
there's the reasons why they pick and choose. We won't get into that. That's a whole other discussion. But again, this pick and choose thing is one of the reasons why. But at the end of the day, going back to this thing, you're right about that. You're right that they don't want to invest in this. And then for the longest time, actors have been holding studios for hostage. They've been holding filmmakers for hostage. And again, the same thing.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm getting
maybe at a time when movies were a little better.
Yeah.
And we enjoyed them a little more. I mean, look at when Robert Downey Jr. left the Marvel series. I'm not a huge, but like,
I haven't seen one since.
Who cares?
Yeah.
You know, who cares? It's like,
but they birthed that whole world.
Yes.
So when they stopped, when that phase stopped, it was just the new faces. You also like,
which is a natural paradigm shift, I feel like.
But you also ran its course.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
It also ran its course. Sure.
Yeah.
It's like now invent something
not like Rocky.
new.
You can't go forever.
So real quick, Erica Forstead says, alas, the Silver comeback has hit a snag.
Oh, she's quoting the article.
Talking about Joel Silver. Sources say Amazon has fired the polarizing Hollywood figure from at least 2 films. One starring Mark Wahlberg, the other Jake Gyllenhaal.
Is that the dog one?
No, it's shooting right now. It's Shane Black directing it.
Oh, shit.
And that was going to be Robert Downey Jr. starring. Shane Black was going to be directing Robert Downey Jr.
That would have been amazing.
He dropped out when they fired Joel Silver, right?
Shane Black did, or Robert Downey Jr.?
Robert Downey Jr. did.
backed out.
So Shane Black is directing Mark Wahlberg in that movie.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, but Downey's still a producer on it.
But
it doesn't say why. It shouldn't say why.
For being, no, it cut out. It said for being, and then I said for being what? And then it just says to finish a movie during the strike.
Erica, for verbal abuse. Oh, yeah, that's what it was. He screamed at the Amazon or the MGM studio head apparently on a phone call.
Oh, really?
Oh, by the way,
because the studio heads don't.
Yeah, but
scream.
he's Joel Silver. He's like known for that.
And by the way,
one of the worst tempers.
who's ever running freaking MGM should be screamed at.
Yeah, do you want to scream at that?
Yeah, I would like to beat them.
You were about to say it. Go ahead, get it out. Get it out.
I let it.
Get it out.
Let
Get
him
it out.
Stand up for Mandler. Come on.
Yeah, we got screwed. We got screwed because
Let's have Joel Silver on this, and he can tell us what he wants to say to Amazon.
Let's get. You know what?
Joel
Hold
Silver.
on. Gia,
I wish I had.
get him on the phone.
Yeah, that's right. I do remember reading that.
Yeah.
The question is, you're talking about actors. Is Jake Gyllenhaal a movie star?
Yes.
Let me answer it for
yes,
you.
yes,
No.
yes.
No, he's not.
No,
He is not
He
a
is.
movie star.
Yes,
think
he is.
No,
Yes,
he's
he
an
is.
actor.
Yes, he is.
No, I
He's
think
a
he's
famous
I
actor.
think he
No,
would have
he's a-
transcended this movie. He's not a movie star.
I agree.
I just
All right.
don't think he was cast properly, but I think he's a movie star.
I think
In
he's
what
a
movie is he a
like
movie
I thought
star?
Brad Pitt
In
was
what movie
miscast.
is he a movie
Hold
star?
on, I thought Brad Pitt was miscast in 7 Years in Tibet. That don't
Great.
not make him a movie star.
Okay, but
No,
I
but-
agree. He's a movie star.
Right.
Brad Pitt is a movie star, though.
But he can
So
back
is
it
Jake
up.
That's what I'm
Gyllenhaal.
But he
saying.
can back it up with so many hits. Give us some Jake Gyllenhaal hits.
Jake Gyllenhaal hits.
Yeah.
Brokeback Mountain.
Okay, that was a huge hit.
That was a huge hit.
Right.
Oscar nominated.
How about Donnie Darko?
Donnie
right when he
Darko.
started.
That's
right
not a
out of the
hit.
gate.
That's an indie.
Nightcrawler.
darling.
Don't
Nightcrawler.
matter. That put him on the map.
But there's a difference between
Nightcrawler
being
was
an
another one.
actor and being like an
Nightcrawler.
actor and being a star.
Yeah.
Like being like
People will go see a Brad Pitt movie, right?
Yeah,
Brad
a
Pitt.
Well,
star
yeah.
is a personality.
But people will
Right,
go see a Jake Gyllenhaal. That's why
movie.
he got
Of course.
cast as
No, they-
Mysterio. That's
No.
why he got cast as Mysterio in Spider-Man.
That's a
Yeah.
side character.
Yeah, but
he's not getting cast as
don't matter.
Spider-Man.
He's
though.
still pulling in the box office.
he's
he
a
wouldn't
star.
be the lead in this movie
He's
if
a
he
star.
wasn't. If he didn't have the credentials.
He's the lead. Tell them.
Jake Gyllenhaal is not a star.
Jake Gyllenhaal is a star.
Gyllenhaal
I'm
is a B-list
I'm on Team Jake. I'm on
Hey,
Team Jake.
everyone go watch Okja.
Can we set up a
Oh
vote?
my
Can we
god!
set up a vote?
I don't understand how you say he's not a star. He is a star. He is.
Prisoners?
He's yeah. What? My God.
That's
a
an
great-
ensemble.
It doesn't matter. He's still.
Yeah.
Hugh
he's a-
Jackman is that movie. Hugh Jackman's a movie star.
Yeah, he's great. And
He's
you
a
know
movie
what?
star.
He's great.
Hugh Jackman is a
Jake Gyllenhaal.
Oh no, we'll do a whole episode on like what makes a movie star.
Yes.
Okay,
It's more
next
than
week.
just-
fine.
That's
week.
interesting.
That's a great topic.
That's a great one.
Great
job.
Great job. I'll see you next week, a-holes.
The other me says Indiana Jones, Goonies, Breakfast Club, 16 Candles.
Jake
etc.
Gyllenhaal wasn't in any
The
of those.
80s were so much fun.
Oh,
Yeah,
They were, but
but
We're
that's-
gonna watch
think about
Roadhouse.
that.
It's fun.
But actually, like, think about that. We don't have like you can't list movies like that.
Yeah, especially streamers. Can you name any movies like that are like? Can you have a list
like a
of
replacement for
straight to
these?
streamer movies?
Not
right?
a replacement, but like think of
Like
those
our
movies.
generations.
Yeah.
straight to streamer movies.
That
Let's
Yeah,
think.
that are
Let's
gonna
start,
stand
let's start with
the
the first
test
one.
of time.
What's the
They're
first
gonna-
movie?
Indiana Jones.
Okay, our generation's Indiana Jones. Indiana Jones 5.
No,
Yeah,
no.
Next.
Come on.
no, hold on.
I honestly don't know.
Hold on. There's different times.
Uncharted.
Like are we
Uncharted
Yeah,
is
no,
yours.
that would be
Yeah.
Uncharted.
are we
which was-
creating classics? I don't feel like we're creating classics.
And you never will
Because-
for movies
because-
that go to streamer.
But I just no.
Well,
that's
Oppenheimer,
not
I think,
true.
would be considered
Hold
a
on, hold on.
classic in the test of time.
Hold on,
I think
hold on. What was that
Oppenheimer will
movie?
Certainly show
Okay,
up.
it didn't
Yeah.
do crazy length up, but it was a great movie. It was Benicio del Toro was in
Oh,
it.
Sicario.
Not Sicario, but Sicario was great. But who was the other? Benicio del Toro and Justin Timberlake. It was Reptile.
That's not going to be a classic.
I didn't see that.
That was a great
I never even
streaming
heard
movie.
of
It was a Netflix movie.
It was a great streaming
That
movie.
doesn't make it timeless. That nobody. Here's the thing. Nobody's talking about it.
Yeah, wait, 30
Movies-
years from now,
We're in a
Movies
different
that
time.
capture
we're not
the
remaking that
zeitgeist.
movie 30
Okay,
years from
You're
now.
also
because
talking.
hold on.
You're
You know
also
what they
talking
will
about
talk
a
about?
period of time.
You know
You're
what they will
also-
talk about? You brought up Doom. They'll talk about Doom. The new
Oh, yeah.
No, not in 10 years.
I think so.
Oh, shit.
Not
I
in
think
10
so.
years. Not in 10 years.
Sorry. He's making me mad.
Not in 10 years.
I think so.
Not in 10 years. Not in 10 years. I promise you, we're not talking about Doom in 10 years.
I really disagree with that.
Yeah,
that's fine.
You know what they won't talk about in 10 years? Reptile.
Right.
They're not talking about it now. But I mean,
Yeah, well, I'm
that's,
talking
that's
about
what we're
movies that like.
talking
So
about.
think about those movies, like just like Roadhouse, right?
but
the
nobody was
movie-
talking
hold on
about
a second,
Roadhouse
let me
until somebody
finish.
decided to make it.
Let
Right?
me
Go ahead. Go finish.
Right? Like the reason they made that because it was a nostalgic title that people remembered and liked.
Yeah.
Right? They're like,
Yes.
what movies today? Are they 30 years from now gonna be like, oh, this is
Let's
such,
re-
a,
let's
this is
remake
such a classic. Let's remake this.
Yeah, exactly. What is it?
But
That-
it doesn't,
that remains.
that's the lack of creativity. We're at this.
But
point,
that's what we're saying. That's what like when you hear that list of movies, right? Like Ghostbusters, right? Now Ghostbusters is coming out. Came out like the other day or this weekend,
Mhm.
right? That's from 1985. Like
Yeah.
we're not creating
Yeah.
these movies,
right.
today.
But that's the lack of creativity from the studios because everybody's trying to afraid to fire to take chances on movies. And when if you're scared, you're like, look, I'm not.
But this
if
includes
this new-
streamers.
What does that?
This includes streamers. It includes like
the problem that you guys are missing with streamers is technology is changing. The world is changing. The way content is getting viewed is changing, and you're still stuck on something that happened 30 years ago.
Theaters still exist.
The theaters still exist, but there are. Okay, let's look at the box office.
Dune is doing really well.
You guys used to go to the movies every week, whether it was a horrible movie. There's many times that I used to talk to you guys on the weekend, like, "Oh, that movie was horrible. Oh, that movie was
every Saturday night.
Every Saturday night, you used to go.
And how many horrible movies?
Okay, hold on. How many? Hold on. Here's the question.
The pizza was great.
How many? Okay, fine. But how many? But you guys used to go to theater.
Yeah.
But how many out of that movies? Let's say for 10. Let's say in that year you saw 20 films, right? 20 films in that year.
Yeah.
How many of them were horrible? And be honest.
I'd say most
19,
of them.
15.
Okay,
I'd say 15.
Okay, perfect.
Unbelievable.
Perfect. So then why are you guys not going to see them right now? Because there's a lot of horrible movies in the theaters now. You're not going every week.
Well, but this goes
no,
back
no,
to when
I'm just asking a
not every
question.
week.
Why did you guys used to go every week? Now you're not going.
Well,
Well,
no, but
because
it's
they shut the friggin' arc
it's
light
tied to
down.
what you're saying because the streamers took away so many theatrical movies.
Well, no, hold on a second. Also,
Yeah.
the theater we go to closed down.
Well, that's
that was
That was
hold
a
on,
tradition.
that was
You
part
were
of the
the
tradition.
experience.
Yeah, it
You
was.
couldn't find a new theater?
but no, it was
That's
like
such
the
a dope-
pizza place and then the theater.
No,
Yeah,
that
it's
was
like
the thing.
it was.
Yeah,
It was
Times change. Things change.
but don't
Shit
take away my
happens.
pizza. Wait, hold on a second. We're all talking over each other.
Yeah.
Right. So we're getting off track. I think the point, at least I was trying to make, is that like, where are those scripts? Where's the Raiders of the Lost Ark, and Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, and Goonies, and 16 Candles? Like those movies aren't existing, right?
Okay.
I'm not talking about whether we're going to watch them on Screamer or watch them in the
All right.
theaters. I'm just talking about like, where are the classic movies of the characters that I want to dress up as Halloween 40 years from now?
Pause.
That's
Right?
interesting.
Right. Pause. Good moment, right?
Thank you very much.
Where's that clap thing?
Give him the
All
clap.
Hold on a second. But you just said it. Where are those scripts, right? Those films, if you look at all that history, right? Those were one scripts. They were written by one person. They had a very strong creative world that they built. And people when you got into that script, you followed that script. The difference now is you write that script. You write the new world. That Gremlins. You write the new Gremlins, right? It's a new thing about critters, whatever the case might be. Well, it's going to come to the studio. Somebody saw it and was like, this is a great world. Great. Now we need 20 million to put it together. Okay, cool. Let's talk to Sheena at marketing. Let's talk to David at publicity.
Yeah.
But wait. No, not only that. You know what? This guy who's a racist and redneck from Florida. No, it's not good. Let's make him a guy from South Dakota who loves horses. And again,
right
now you start piece by piece. By the time you're done with that script. So my point going to what you're saying is there are classics being written. There's a lot of great writers. There's a lot of great directors. There's a lot of great creative people. But the problem is that there's so many people scared to lose their jobs, which in reality, they will lose their jobs. You guys are going to lose your jobs. That's a fact. I'm letting you guys know in the studios because the world is getting it. I'm talking to them because at the end of the day, this is what pisses me off. It's the attack of creative people. There is a lot of creative people, but when you have creative people who do their thing, and then you have 15 douchebags who are not in the job of being creative people, tell them how to do their job. That's the problem. Your job is to market the movie, not to tell him how to make the movie so you can market the movie. Your job is to take the movie he made, whatever your feelings or whatever your agenda is, and figure out how to market it. And that's what makes you a brilliant marketer. We've lost all that. That's why guys like him and Ellen and all these different people are figuring social media and figuring out the algorithms, and they're running. And that's why I say, and even somebody, I heard this podcast, the new filmmakers are going to be influencers. They're going to be filmmaker influencers, guys like me. You give them $1 million. You're not going to give them $50 million. They're going to make films with their friends. They're going to make them low budget. They're going to put them out there. And that's it. That's why Lionsgate model worked. I have a company I'm dealing right now. They're doing the same Lionsgate models. Instead of they had $20 million, they made $21 million films, and they just needed 3 to hit.
So the guy said on the Oscars.
So now,
but that's why I don't think the $85 million as opposed to $60 million is necessarily better.
That's a good argument. I'm just telling you what I would have took.
Right.
And I would have still made it better with $85 million. Now,
Erica's offended because she's an executive.
She could be offended. There's a lot of executives.
You're not losing your job.
You're fired.
There's a lot of executives but she's also a producer. That's different. She's the producer that produces and creates content.
Honestly, some executives are good because these
not Sheena in marketing, bro. Sheena in marketing shouldn't tell me how to rate the character.
I don't know Sheena.
The DI.
Okay.
If you knew Sheena like I knew
If you
Sheena,
knew Sheena
what I'm
like
saying,
I knew Sheena.
I've been through this. I've been through this because I had a project at Sony that went to 15 different people before it came back to us.
No, you're right. Marketing should stay out of it.
Marketing, publicity.
I mean, like
marketing, publicity, DI. Everybody.
People get mad at development execs, and sometimes, like Zack Snyder could take some notes, right?
Yeah.
Martin Scorsese could take some notes on like these movies they do straight for
but,
streamers.
Okay,
Well,
the music
and they
industry
used
lost. The music
They
industry,
used to.
right? But
When
hold on a
that
second.
group of people, those
because there were,
directors
like-
they would be hard on each other, and they'd be like, "No, man, this doesn't work. Star Wars needs a thing. Tell us what's happening."
There were also producers and studio heads that were also storytellers.
Well, that's what Harvey
knew
Weinstein
movies
was.
were.
a
And that's
genius
the
of
thing.
Harvey
It's like
Weinstein.
right
Even
now,
though he was a douche, but Harvey Weinstein used to be able to control Tarantino. He used to take these filmmakers. So he was a producer that came from producing that learned. Now he's a big jerk, yes. But what I'm saying is there was a point in time, even the what's the movie that what's the TV show that Miles Tillman was? The Offer, right? The one about great. Everybody should see that, right? Because what's great about
Evans.
Bob Evans.
Yeah,
that's a great story, right?
Yeah.
That Bob Evans was an actor turned into a producer who was turned into a studio head, but in a studio head he was like, "Yo, Chinatown's brilliant." Everybody's like, "Why do I want to make a movie about the water?" And he fought for the movie.
He fought for the script.
We need more Bob Evans.
Bob Evans.
But they didn't tell Bob Evans said, "I'm making this decision." He went to the guy with the money and said, "This is what we're doing." And the guy with the money said, "This better win or you lost your job." And that's it.
Right.
It didn't come to say Bob Evans said, "Hey, Justin, you're over here at Bob Publicity. What do you think about this script? Oh, why do you think about this? Oh, why don't you get the guy from the valet? Does this offend your community?"
But see that happens because I knew a lot of
seriously.
It happens at every level. I knew a bunch of kids who were like huge on Vine.
Yeah.
Right. And then they went on to do YouTube and stuff, and they would get manager, and the management would always tell them, you need to do this, you need to do that.
Yeah.
And anytime they listened to the management, it kind of didn't work.
Yeah.
Right. And I'd say, look, you're successful because you did it your way, how you wanted to do it. You had your unique voice. What are you listening to these people for?
Yeah.
Do your thing.
Right.
And that's and anytime they did their own, what they believed in, they were a success.
And they don't know. All they know is a trend, right?
Yeah.
What happened in the past was popular.
Yeah.
Right.
These people have crystal balls? No.
Yeah, it's true. That's a thing.
Yeah.
That's like very real, though. It's like, no, they don't have crystal balls. Nobody does. I've made videos and this is just on a smaller scale. I've made videos that I'm like, I am absolutely nervous to post this because I don't like the way it makes me look or whatever. And then 24 million views later, and I'm just like, I thought I had the answers. I really did.
Right.
If somebody was like, hey, how can you guide me to make a video, that will succeed? And I'd be like, here are my tips. Does it work? Not all the time. In fact, maybe 9 times out of 10, it doesn't.
Right.
Well, that's great because
one time.
But you mentioned something really good though. You said I didn't like the way it made me look. I was second guessing it, whatever the case. But you creatively, you said, "F it, I'm gonna throw it out there because there was something instinctively that made me do this."
Yeah.
That's the problem with the studio system. That's the problem with films.
Yeah.
They start judging every little element.
Yeah.
And if I did that, I'd be like, "Oh, I don't like the way I look in this act."
Yeah,
this
you're,
scene."
you're really going to offend this
Then I'm
community.
done. Then I'm
Yeah.
done. And then the film doesn't come out.
Right.
You know what offends community? I come from a community that like a lot of people talk about, and it's not my community talking about it. You know what I'm saying? There's no representation for Puerto Rico. A lot of people, all these people representing Puerto Rican filmmakers and Puerto Rican or Latino filmmakers, they're not effing Latinos. They're people who think they know what they want, and you guys got it effing wrong.
So
Forget about that.
Speaking of which,
Like, I don't buy this.
This is actually kind
I
of
thought
funny.
you were Italian.
That's a lot of people.
Speaking of which, this is actually kind of interesting because of that. Like, so you could do something that's like against the would be politically incorrect that would piss a lot of people off, right? Or you could take a play out of Jennifer Lopez's book, which is do everything politically correct. Talk about how you have your messy hair and you grew up in the Bronx and you were a little girl running around, or talk about like, this was my bodega order. This is the orange drink for those who know. Everybody online right now in the Bronx is like, keep the Bronx out of your friggin' mouth. We want nothing to do with you. You lived in an Irish neighborhood. You sat next to Melissa, whatever her name is, in high school. We know what block you grew up on, and it's fake. And people can smell it a mile away. So it's like you can make on paper all of the right choices like she is right now. And now she's canceling tour dates because nobody's buying tickets to her
Yeah,
show.
but here's the thing.
It's crazy.
But here's the thing, though, with Jennifer Lopez, there was a point in time. Look, I know I'm very connected to her because I know, right?
It's our Roadhouse review.
I'm gonna bring it back.
No, but it goes to what you're saying, right? So with the J-Lo thing, there was a point in time she was relevant. It's just when people are long in the career. Look, it's just like Jay-Z coming back now and saying what he wants to talk about Brooklyn. He hasn't been in Brooklyn for 20, 30 years. You know what I'm saying? Whether he drove by it or whatever, it doesn't matter. It's changed.
Out of touch.
But hold the thing. That's the thing is when you get out of touch, I'm not trying to get in touch with your roots is stupid.
Yeah.
When you're trying to say, hey, I'm Jennifer Lopez who came from this area. But it's
interesting.
No, but listen. I'm Jennifer Lopez who came from this area, and look at me now. I developed and give that message of how she worked hard and whatever the case might be, and she did what she did, and she's dope now. That's great. But at the end of the day, when you're far removed from something from 30 years ago, and then I'm trying to go back to North Philly and say, hey, I don't know about North Philly right now. I lived there 15 years ago, 20 years ago. I don't know, even Queens, when I go back, even now that I go back to Queens, I'm from Queens, I go back to Queens. It's changed.
Yeah.
I can't say that I'm 100% like the people that are from Queens right now because I don't know. You know what I mean? I could be from the people that were my time period, but things change. These young kids are.
Well, you could also just sense when somebody's out of touch with where they came from.
But that's what I'm saying.
And there's nothing wrong with being out of touch from where you came from.
No,
we all grow.
But it's authenticity. This is what's really crushing right now in the market is authenticity. And I think it's because social media.
Roadhouse is a failure.
Right. Yep. It's because you have a bunch of interesting. Well, because you have a bunch of people sort of playing an idea. Nobody's really grounded in connecting. Like, why are you making this movie?
Right.
Are you trying to change humanity in some capacity? Are you trying to get people to look at things differently? Even if you just want to make an entertaining movie, you still have to give people like danger. You're going to have a fight. I need to know that this character might die. And if he doesn't, for the whole friggin' movie, I don't care. I don't care.
So you wanted Jake Gyllenhaal to die? That's what
you wanted him to be in danger.
Look at Jackie Chan.
He could
arguably probably the greatest on-film martial artist of all time. Every fight that he's in, he's being overpowered by people. He's getting hit left, right, and center. He's constantly running away from danger, and he's getting himself into circumstances where he's falling off the side of a friggin' building, and you're like, is this guy... How is he not dead in real life? And that's what Tom Cruise is doing. And then Jake Gyllenhaal shows up and it's like, I have a smirk. That's it. I'm going to fight you with my smile. And then I'm going to talk to you like I know what I'm talking about. I broke your trachea. You're going to have a hard time breathing. Blah, blah, blah. Nobody gives a shit.
Well, and you've seen it so many times.
I've given up on this.
It's one of the reasons Die Hard is, I think, so successful.
Yes.
Bruce Willis, he did everything reluctantly.
Yes.
He tried to get out of every situation. He was afraid.
Yes.
This is a bad idea.
Yeah.
He didn't
almost falls down the friggin' ventilator shaft.
He wasn't superhuman.
No.
And he,
by the end of the movie, he's beaten up.
It could have been played that. Yeah. Like it could have been played like Jake Gyllenhaal played this.
The stabbing, dude, right out of the gate. Yeah. Doesn't react to the knife in his abdomen.
That was
and is having a full-blown conversation with somebody. And to the point where it's unbearable.
He gets stabbed 3 times in there.
Yeah,
in the same spot.
And the thing is,
it's like spot.
It could have been played.
It saves money.
Prosthetically.
We keep probably.
It could have if it got played on more of a comedic level.
Yes,
and it didn't.
It
was
took
just
the piss out of
itself.
itself.
I feel like they were trying to be funny, and that it didn't hit.
Well, sometimes they were obviously.
I will say this. Sure, I will say this.
Which is way out of left field.
But look at even John Wick, right? This is a guy who. First of all, right out of the gate, we are rooting for this guy because of the animal theory that if you take away a dog or whatever, right? Oh, the audience is now like, you have to take this person out. Okay, so right out of the gate, as an audience, we are sucked in. Now, Keanu, he doesn't really give too much emotion in that movie. He's just Keanu, whatever.
Keanu Reeves.
He's Canadian, all right? This is how you say it in the homeland.
No, you don't.
So anyway, he is. So
I liked him.
So anyway, so basically,
nobody's perfect.
He's marching through John Wick, right? Yeah. Same demeanor as Jake Gyllenhaal. But what makes that different? Every fight that John Wick gets in, he is one gunshot away from getting his friggin' head blown off. And you're seeing him dodge this constantly.
They also
and coming up with new stuff on the fly.
So in those John Wick movies, they also created a consistent world.
Yes.
Right. So it's consistent from the beginning to the end. The tone.
Yep.
The whatever comedy, whatever the action is, however, whatever the rules of how he is amazing.
Yes.
Whatever. Right.
Show that again. Show that again. How he's.
Hey, I'm John Wick. Hey, I'm
You know, it's like, but you know, this was a mess. It was like. It was comical, but like three different kinds of comedy in this movie.
Yeah.
Right. And
none worked.
And McGregor, who I didn't like. I mean, I do think he was the most entertaining part of it, but his intro, I just felt like, oh my God, super cliche.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, but the whole movie is super cliche.
Yeah. I just like when you go to take something that's a classic, right? I don't know how. You know, you approach it. It just feels like, oh, we could do better than what they did.
I have an idea,
and it's just like I don't understand that.
I have an idea as a storyteller.
They probably think it's cheesy.
So, but this is the thing. I think, and this is just a creative note. As the storyteller, the people writing the script, as the director making the movie, you need to go to the movies that are that succeeded. Fistful of Dollars, A Few Dollars More, Ronin, Kurosawa. These are the original. This guy goes into a town. There's all of these problems, and he solves everything. And everything is based off of these movies. But nobody's going back. I feel like nobody goes back and digs into film history or film culture to look at like, okay, but why did this character do this?
Right.
What was his motivation? All of this stuff that's happening now. Well, but here's the thing, though. What we're getting now is just a facade. We're not getting an actual movie. We're getting something that looks like a movie. There is no connection to humanity in this film at all. Well, it is completely dry.
But look, that goes back to saying what you were saying. You're saying go back into why does it make this? Why does it make it? And he made John Wick was a great example, right? Because John Wick is an action dumb story. It's a cookie cutter. It's a cookie cutter genre for John Wick.
Yes.
But what made that movie special? That movie was special.
Yes.
That movie was special because they built their own world. They took a cookie cutter, same thing with Die Hard, a cookie cutter idea and made it special, which they could have done with Roadhouse, right? They could have done with Roadhouse. Sure. Now, again, I'm going back to what you just said, and which was, I agree with you 100%. They're not looking at it because it's not, because you got so many people that got so many jobs that are worried about their jobs and nothing else, or their opinion being inserted that they don't care. It's not that's the problem with filmmakers. And this, I think it's going to go back, and we're in the cusp of this. It's not a genre of filmmakers. Like there's only a few, I could say, look, I would say Scorsese with The Irishman and Flowers of the New Moons.
Killers of the Flower Moon.
Yeah,
very well cast.
Yes.
Really. Made his film. Regardless whether you liked it or not, they made his film.
Yeah,
you know
I agree.
You know what I'm saying?
You don't think Doug Liman made his film?
Yeah, I do. I do.
I think he's got the power.
I kind of think he did too.
This is the first non-theatrical movie he's made.
Yeah. I kind of think he did too, to be honest.
And from what we know about Doug Liman too, we talked about this last one. I'm not sure he's necessarily a great filmmaker. Right? He's worked with.
I'm gonna call him. Tell him you said that.
I'll tell him.
Well, but here's the thing: like you look at somebody like Quentin.
Might have lost his
why does Quentin knock out home runs all the time? Right?
Well, it's not all the time.
Steroids.
Well, let's just say eight times out of 9, which is pretty friggin' good.
I don't know.
7 times out of 9.
All right, we all
He's still over 50%.
I don't know if I'd agree with that.
Let him get to his point.
He is over 50%.
Here's my point.
Invictus.
What, Quentin?
Oh, I thought it was Clint Eastwood. I thought you said.
No, Quentin.
Oh, I thought you said Clint Eastwood.
Quentin was not Clint Eastwood. No, God.
But he's not.
No,
he's
Quentin
not
Tarantino.
What I'm saying
is you have somebody. You have somebody that.
8 out of 10.
Yeah, I would say.
Would you believe 7 out of 10?
You have. You have somebody.
You
let him. But here's the thing: is as the filmmaker, his responsibility and the writer is to fill these characters with backstory that give the audience a reason to care. Now, I want to know, did these writers have a backstory for Jake Gyllenhaal?
No.
Did they have a backstory for Conor McGregor? Or did they just come up with an idea and just go with it? Because the audience can feel it 100% of the time. Anytime that I notice that things aren't connected to an actual humanity, it always feels dry, it runs flat, and the audience stops caring.
It does feel like outside of the frame and the scenes, the world doesn't exist.
That's it. Yeah. Exactly.
Right.
There's craft
Where's
service.
this guy coming from? Like, we're sitting there watching this movie, and I'm like, please don't tell me that his only backstory is that he fought in the UFC.
That's
and
it.
he beat that guy.
It's like, is this guy military? Like, how the frick
and
does
then
he know all this stuff about tracheas and shit?
That
Like,
woman is like, tell me where you're from.
Right.
And it's like Montana.
Yeah.
And then he gets weird. But so if you go
That
back to
was
the
also
first
weird.
one, there is the Sam Neill character,
right.
who's his buddy, who comes in like halfway through the movie, and you learn a lot about Dalton through their relationship, because
And there's not that many
Sam
scenes.
Neill?
Yeah,
Sam
in the
Neill.
original.
Yeah, Sam Neill.
No. That's
Sam Elliott.
Sam
Elliott.
Yeah.
Sam Neill's Jurassic Park.
Sam
Elliott.
What?
Sorry, Sam Elliott. Yeah, that character doesn't exist in this Roadhouse.
No, I was
but he's
waiting
so important
for
in
that.
old Roadhouse.
He is
'Cause
the
you-
reason Dalton has that job, basically.
Right.
Even just seeing their relationship, you go, oh yeah.
Yeah.
He's like,
But also-
he has and they go, what happened in whatever Louisville?
Yes,
Let's not talk
but
about
also
that.
incredibly
Yeah.
funny to
So-
see Sam Elliott like do martial arts.
Let me
Like
ask,
one of the funniest
in
things.
jeans.
In
jeans.
so let me ask a question. So in the original Roadhouse, the guy gets Patrick Swayze, so he goes and searches for Patrick Swayze because he works there, right?
The bar owner finds Patrick Swayze, very similar to this one.
Yes.
The bar owner
Comes
finds,
and
but in that world they created, like Patrick Swayze
Has a
Dalton,
mentor.
well, no, but he has a legend.
A
about
legend,
him.
yes.
So you got the guy, right?
Yeah.
And then when he takes the job. He has to be convinced when he takes the job. You see him train the other part.
Yeah.
One of the most iconic scenes in that first Roadhouse is him talking to all the bouncers
Right.
and giving that monologue about be nice.
Yeah.
Someone is unruly. Be
Yes.
nice. Be nice. Be nice.
And you
until
learn
it's time to not be nice.
Yes.
And you learn a lot about his character in that.
In that sequence, yeah.
Yes.
And then it cuts to him watching his bouncers that he just trained doing their thing. It's like they just want to get to it. They don't understand filmmaking in this.
No.
They don't understand like backstory, and then we care about Patrick Swayze because of
But
that.
this is kind of what happens and what is happening with like martial arts films as they're evolving, which is that and I've noticed this, like I love John Wick 1, but that's as far as it goes for me.
With you on that
Number
one.
2, 3, and 4 to me just felt like staged, like it was
Stage
like I was
action.
watching ballet or something. Like it was like the Nutcracker. It's just there's no
This scene
real
with guns. This
Yeah.
scene with
Right.
fighting,
This
scene
is
with
this
knives.
is the crazy thing on the motorcycle.
technically
there's
impressive.
no like I don't really care, and it's just one after the next. And then I notice patterns in everything. I see patterns. So like the one with Halle Berry, it was Keanu hits, Halle Berry hits, dog hits. Keanu hits, Halle Berry hits, dog hits, and it's like, oh,
the dog
this
fights.
is it's like we're just
Yeah.
or the dog bites,
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah, the
The
dog,
dog fights?
Dog fights.
Shaggy PI. Goosh.
Dog fights.
But so, but this one is like
I thought the
it
dog died in
becomes
the first
more.
The
It
different
becomes
dog.
more
New
about
dog.
something
Oh, the new
else.
dog?
To go stuff.
It becomes more about something else than it does about like
That's a
what
good
the
movie.
actual movie is.
Well, also, if you read the original John Wick, The Scorn, I think it was called, the original script of the original John Wick.
oh, cool.
It to me, reading it wasn't what the movie became.
Oh no, they
It felt
Oh, no,
much
they
more
switched that up.
grounded.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
felt,
yeah.
You
they
know,
was the
added all
director.
the mythology of
Yeah.
that whole
Yeah.
world. They add that
and
later.
it was a great script.
I heard the director talk about that.
Yeah, it's a great script. So like they changed it, they created this world, and there's something I don't know what it is because they're like you said, it doesn't have 2, 3, and 4. They don't have the charm of. But
the dog. That's
there's
the,
still
that's
the-
the
No,
missing
it's
ingredient.
how about this?
No, it's
Hold
also
on,
the
wait, I'm not
transition
done.
of
Okay, wait,
the
let him
stage.
finish, and then I'm gonna say something.
But
Yeah,
Go ahead.
but the film, there's other than that, I don't know how to say this. Other like the filmmaking is impressive.
Yes.
like it's enough where it keeps you drawn. You like them enough from the other ones, and they don't ruin it. They don't ruin. They like what they did with Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, where they ruined Indiana Jones, or what they did with Star Wars, where they go back and they kind of dismantle what we've already seen and change stuff. It's like they've jumped from it, and it might not have the depth. But somehow
It's
they're
still
just
John
as
Wick.
entertaining.
It's still John Wick.
He's, Keanu Reeves is still great.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
That's the thing also that Roadhouse doesn't have.
Right.
A movie star, right? A charming movie star that you want to follow.
And
I'm
B,
sorry,
that you
Jake
want
is not. Yeah, you want to
Well,
be
I-
John
I
Wick.
to be.
I
You
still
wanna
think
be John
Jake
Wick.
is a movie star. I just
I
don't
see.
think he was in that movie. That's
I agree with you. I think Jake
because he's
Gyllenhaal-
incredibly talented. He's a. I mean, the guy's got the friggin' best hairline.
You can be
in Hollywood.
talented. You
And
can
he
play
looks
dark
great.
characters. But
Yeah, but
there's
that guy's
a
nothing-
magic. There's something.
Yeah, movie stars. Like
I thought he had the charisma in Spider-Man. He was great, dude.
I thought he was terrible in that movie.
I never saw that one.
The
To be
one,
honest.
the one with
Where he's the bad guy. The
Mysterio.
that from
That-
home.
Yeah.
The movie, he was,
That
That
was,
movie
he
was
was
terrible.
awful.
The movie was bad.
He was awful.
I'm just saying, you guys keep saying he's not
Never
a
saw
movie
that
star.
one.
He's
He's not a
100% a movie star. All right.
No, I think he's a.
I mean-
honestly, he's a.
I'm saying you would have enjoyed this movie more if he was.
Who was in it?
Ryan Gosling.
If he was a movie star. I'm just saying.
Yeah, if he was.
If Jake Gyllenhaal was a movie star, you would have enjoyed it.
Yes.
Charles Bronson would have crushed this, even though it would have been cheesy. It would have just been like Death Wish, but like
I try to watch. I love Ryan Gosling. I try to watch Barbie. I couldn't see it. I couldn't sit through it.
Just go watch the original one. Patrick Swayze. He's not trying so hard to be like intense,
right?
You know,
he just is, man.
That's an actual cool, comfortable character.
Again,
is someone that's not trying.
Okay, but the difference is what you're saying and what he's saying did two different things. He's saying that he was miscast. What you guys are saying, he's not a star. That's
right.
two different
and I
things.
stand by
no, they're connected.
Yeah,
I don't think
they should have.
I don't think
star.
it was the right role for Jake. I think Jake can pull it off if somebody had told him like you have to let what makes you shine through. And the only way to do that is you've got to connect to like a backstory.
I think a movie star that just like transcends who they are. Bruce Willis was a movie star. Stallone, Schwarzenegger. I think Gosling, Brad Pitt, and Tom Cruise. Yeah. Like they transcend.
All of those guys have one thing in common, right? They all have movies that they were horrible in too.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Do. There's a bunch of Bruce Willis movies.
You would put Jake Gyllenhaal in that category with those names?
Yeah, 100%.
You're just being stubborn.
No, it's not. And I'm not talking about the movies. I'm talking about Nightcrawler. I'm talking about Breakback Mountain. I'm talking about I'm just
saying we're just talking about the movie stars. Those names.
Yeah.
Right now.
Yeah.
Tom Cruise, Brad Pitt, Ryan Gosling. Who just say?
Schwarzenegger, Bruce Willis,
Stallone,
like the people who transcend
Jake Gyllenhaal.
A Jake Gyllenhaal movie is.
No one has ever made that list and put Jake Gyllenhaal in that.
Jake Gyllenhaal. I'll tell you who has put that list. I'll tell you right now. If I have a script with Jake Gyllenhaal, that movie's getting made right now.
Okay, well there we go. How much does Jake Gyllenhaal get paid, and how much would who's Ryan Gosling get paid?
But
that's what determines a star, right?
No, not at all. You're saying that who's got a higher star level? That's two different things. You're saying he's not a star. I'm saying he is a star. There is a reason why he keeps getting paid what he's getting paid, and he keeps making the movies he makes because people are what. Yes.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, but is he making $20 million a picture like Ryan Gosling?
I think he was.
I think at one point
There's
he
no
was.
way he ever made
He was Prince of Persia for crying out loud. Like he's done all kinds of stuff.
Persia.
Yeah.
Remember
that was $150 million.
Okay. Wait, there's your example.
Because he was not Middle Eastern.
They gave him a franchise, right? A lead of a big
but
Indiana Jones
it
style
was reasons
action
outside. It's like he
wasn't.
What
if he was a movie star?
No. But
but
he's not
Tom Cruise.
He's not Middle Eastern. That was like the beginning of all of this stuff like falling apart because it was like he's not Middle Eastern.
That's the backlash it got.
Well, yeah, but like the Prince of Persia is Middle Eastern.
I'm not defending the movie,
right? So like, but then they hired this white guy to do it, and it's like, And right out of the gate, I played the video games, and I thought that movie was trash because it wasn't true to the video game. It just was like, what the hell are we doing here?
Right. That doesn't take the fact
away. But they hired him.
Let's go to the audience. Hey, everybody, right? Is Jake Gyllenhaal a movie star? I want to hear.
I'm just saying, just because his roster. For me, a movie star is again. I think it's not somebody who could like get a movie greenlit. It's somebody.
You're saying there's a reason. Okay, there's a reason why you can get a movie greenlit because people are going to watch you. So a movie star is somebody who can put people in the seats or make people want to watch that movie. And Jake Gyllenhaal definitely has that because people are watching his movies. It's not. However, whatever you feel about
this,
we're
going to say this for that next episode.
Okay, we'll say we have to.
Look, I mean,
Jarhead,
Day After Tomorrow.
That's a big disaster movie that has nothing to do with the cast.
End of Watch.
Yeah.
End of Watch.
That's not a big hit.
So, yes, it is. Yes, it is. It is 100%.
I want box office with all these.
I mean, yeah. I mean, okay. So here's the thing. Like, I would say, so like Bubble Boy, that flopped, right?
Okay, but
we're not talking about flops.
I can take 5 movies that are flops. For Tom Cruise.
What the fuck? What the hell? He was in Finest Kind? Jake Gyllenhaal? No. Why is this a pop up with Finest Kind right there? Jake Gyllenhaal.
Well, they're selling the movie. All right, let's get off your phones. Here, let's go through the other parts of this movie. The villain, the other guy.
Connor.
Billy Magnuson. No,
the blonde-haired kid
who shows up in every Netflix movie. Yeah.
The villain.
Yeah, the big guy.
Okay. Oh yeah.
Not memorable.
I forgot about him.
That first scene when they're shaving him, terrible.
What was that scene?
So bad, poorly shot. You're like, there's danger.
Yeah,
classic.
I would say when he came and sat next to him.
Hey, huge. Let's focus.
But it is focus. We're just showing.
Whoa! Who's here?
The door just opened.
Oh,
the ghost of Jake Gyllenhaal.
Wait, that just happened?
Yes.
Weird.
Well, maybe you should try to lock your door, bro.
When one door opens,
Okay,
another door
closes.
Okay. Do we want to see if we have any comments or questions?
Let's get questions.
I was going to go
wait,
parts of the movie.
Wait, go ahead. Let's go.
The villain. What did you think of the villain guy? The actual bad guy. The guy that's getting shaved on the boat.
He was all over the place. He
He's
starts
all
off
over,
crazy,
but
and then he gets normal, and then he gets crazy again.
The normal scene,
Yeah,
though, when he sits next to Jake in the bar, I was like, oh, it's almost.
He's a good actor. He's a good actor. He's a good. I like his
tries
look.
hard sometimes.
Look, I've seen him in a couple things right now. The thing is, the kid's good. I like him. I would work with him. I don't think people are giving the time to. He's not a lead yet.
Yeah.
So if they make him a lead, and I think somebody really focuses on him, I think he will do a great job.
Lead is what? What do you see him playing?
I mean, he can play a lot of things. That guy could go and play something like, Ivy League guy.
Yeah.
He could play. He's got a lot of.
He'd be good as like Fred and Scooby Doo. That'd be funny. As Fred? Oh, for real. Wait, Scooby Doo is a huge franchise. You may be laughing, but like that movie is a huge franchise.
I was actually going to piggyback off of you. I wasn't expecting that. But I mean, the guys.
It is obscure. I'll give you that.
But he can also play an intense character. I think he can play. I think he's good. I think again that villain of his father was in jail. It was just.
I don't think it was his fault.
I don't think it was his fault. I think his acting skills. I think he's got a good look. I think he's a good-looking guy. He's got a good look. I think he can definitely be a star one day if he's in the right role in the right movie. I just think that the character itself is not strong. You know what I'm saying? The character was just a weak character. And
for me, he was one of the characters that felt like this writer wrote this scene, and then he wrote this scene, and then another writer wrote this.
Yeah, I agree.
He like shows up and he's insane, getting shaved, and then it's like.
But I do like that scene at the bar where he's just himself. Is like, just why don't you just give up? Like that was a real moment. That was like a moment. Like just give up, man. I'm tired of this. Like you know what I mean? Yeah, and that was a good. I think he was good. But
more of that.
All right, what else you got, Schwartzo?
What do we think about actors that spend so much time getting in shape for movies and not spending enough time being good actors?
It's true. It's
it just felt like
it's valid, but at the end of the day,
his shirt was off the whole movie.
Yeah,
I was getting sick. I was almost getting sick of staring at his abs.
Cool.
Jake Gyllenhaal.
Yeah, but you know what? I disagree on that comment. I think
I was so.
I don't know when you have a character and he wakes up in the morning after sleeping all night and he's just like every vein popping out.
Yeah, I know.
Like, come on.
I know.
What do you mean? Come on, that's the same thing with Schwarzenegger movies. That's the same thing with Bruce Willis movies back in the day. Come on,
I think you're picking at the stupidest moments.
Well, not Bruce Willis.
No, I don't know.
But Stallone and Schwarzenegger for sure.
I just felt like this movie was distracting. It was just like
you just have a crush on him.
No, there was an obnoxious amount of time with his shirt.
Yeah, I'm with you on this. Like, I
get they were in the Florida Keys.
I thought that there were some scenes where I'm like, yeah, sure, totally, right. But then there were others where I'm like, all right, what's going on here?
I don't think that was a problem. I think again,
just go through some other elements.
I just think the movie just wasn't great and it missed.
My
favorite. Had a lot of talented people that just didn't work again. The same thing. You have 7 talented chefs to make one dish. Yeah. You're gonna get the flavors are gonna be.
Back to what you were saying about like great filmmaking. I'm also noticing a lot of filmmakers aren't telling stories using film language. And what I mean by that is like what you reveal. You're moving the camera for no reason. It's just like everything is unmotivated. Like for example, in this movie, we visually see that Jake Gyllenhaal is crazy because of a close-up where his eyes are practically crossed and he's got a mouth guard in his mouth and he's like, and it's like, I'm sitting there going, okay, this is pathetic, honestly.
How would you make him look crazy?
I got to sit down and think about it. Like, I can't just come up with something like this. Like, I'd have to storyboard this thing and be like, okay, how does this work? First of all, I would make that twist, not the twist. That was ridiculous.
Yeah.
What was the twist?
The twist was that if he gets really mad, he starts
like
killing people.
He's the Hulk. Which is,
it's
the tone. The tone was off in this movie.
Yes.
Right. And again,
that's not the tone.
And again, going back to my whole point is tone's going to be off if you got a bunch of chefs in the kitchen making the same thing.
Yeah.
You don't have one. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like the tropes, right? Like film tropes. You show a guy, from Vietnam's got PTSD by having friggin' helicopter sounds in the sky, the sound editor is like adding like gunshots and helicopters, and you've got your actor going there like this, and it's like, okay, but what about he's in a gym, he's in a locker room, and there's a guy next to him, and he smells him, and all of a sudden we get a flash of when he actually took somebody's life for the first time, and he can smell the BO in his beard. Like, that is way more visceral than just helicopter noises, and that is film language. That is being
he answered your question.
That's being skipped out on across the board.
How
now.
would he do it? You know, how would
well, but that's just an analogy,
and that's
but
fine.
Like,
and again, that would be your film. But then when you have that idea and you're sitting at a table with 15 producers who are telling you, Justin, that's a great idea, but we don't give F about it.
Right.
And we're gonna do it like this. And you're at a point where you're making your film and you're like, and you took the check and it's already, you're paying your mortgage and you're like, well, I have no choice. I'm gonna do it like that. And I think that's the problem. And again, I'm gonna still stick at we can sit there and blame these filmmakers all day and like, but they're not the only ones making the films. And until we have, that's the reason why you could say like Tarantino has the clout. Scorsese has the clout, and even Clint Eastwood. They have the clout to make. If a Clint Eastwood movie's bad, it's because of Clint Eastwood. Yeah. If a Clint Eastwood movie's good, it's because of Clint Eastwood. Right. Do you know what I'm saying? So the same thing with Tarantino, same thing with Scorsese. These guys have built such a following that they can say, listen, I'm the guy putting people in the seats. You're going to make the film that I want to make. If you don't like it, I'll make it with somebody else. Right. If you're not, I even got enough money to make it myself and make more money out of it. So which one do you guys want to do?
Right.
Where
sure. In some capacity. I also feel that like limitation breeds creativity. And I feel like what's happening is you get these guys who genuinely don't understand like film 101. Like you can't
say that. You can't say that.
In most cases, I mean, you know, it's just like it's unbearable in some cases. Like you watch some of these Marvel films and you see these two actors having a scene and the camera is just slowly going around them. There's no motivation. There's no reason for it to happen other than the fact that what's happening on screen is not important enough.
They did it in this movie. They're sitting in the water.
Trick the audience. Right. Yeah. So we have to trick the audience into actively being engaged. And that is also film language. And when the audience feels like they're being lied to, they tune out. And I can smell it a mile away.
Well, also, like and you know, jumping on that, the visual effects in this movie.
Oh my God.
Right.
The car crash, the hits. It was like, what the hell is
trying to hide him really smart. Maybe that's why it wasn't theatrical.
The spit that comes out of the mouth that disappears behind an invisible wall. Like it doesn't even go off the screen. It's just like gone. That's like, okay, so you put an element in there.
I think you just kind of clicked on something though. Again, going back to what made these movies really good is I think the story, right? So I think going back to it, these stories were good. These stories were original. We never seen them before. And look, because I can point out a bunch of movies that I can go back on. One of the movies that I love the most, an original, was Usual Suspects. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, if I go look at back, there's a lot of like shots that I thought were great that weren't as great as it. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't change the fact from the story. It doesn't change the fact from the acting. It doesn't change. Right. The difference is technology is changing. And I hate to say it, as we enter this AI world, as we enter visual effects, they do look fake because they are fake. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. There's just a reality when you see something in real. Like that shot where Doug falls, right? We didn't visual effect anything.
Oh, he dropped.
Yeah. In what?
In this movie.
Shepherd.
Oh my God!
Yes. That was brilliant. It was one of the most brilliant things that happened. It was like he dropped, and it just looks. And we were talking. Like, it was a rehearsal.
Yes.
And that rehearsal became the tape.
Right.
But it was just because it was so natural. And it was done in a different way. So like, again, going back to why Tom Cruise does his own. Again, it's just people who care, and there's different investment, there's different elements to it. But I do think one of the biggest problems is until you start letting filmmakers really make their film and put everybody in check. Your job in marketing should be how to take any piece of crap that I give you and market the ass.
You're right.
But then when they do the other problem is then they do let someone like Damien Chazelle, is that his name?
Yes.
Make his movie.
Who's Damien Chazelle?
Babylon.
Right, he did La La Land and
Whiplash.
Right? So he makes Whiplash and La La Land.
So two major hits, by the way, La La Land and Whiplash.
And then they say, okay, you do Babylon, you do what you want.
Full creative control, and it was a turd.
But marketing wouldn't have saved it.
Okay,
no, nothing was saved it.
It was so bad, he killed everybody off the movie before. It was just like, there was the only way to exit that movie was to die, basically. And then what was it? The back half or the back 10 minutes was like a shot of an entirely red screen for no reason.
Well,
with clips from other movies.
They were trying to save the movie.
Yeah, then they threw trailer clips from other movies. I was like, what is going on?
I didn't see that movie. But at the end of the day,
the first 40 minutes were great, by the way.
Whiplash and what's the other one? La La Land. I mean,
He earned it.
He earned it.
Now
you know, but hold on a second. But again, going back to that Darren Aronofsky one, he did Pie. He does Requiem for a Dream.
Yes.
Right. Smash hits, and then they give him The Fountain, and he gets smacked on it. So what does he do? He goes okay, I'm gonna go back and do The Wrestler. Yeah, same thing with M. Night Shyamalan. M. Night dropped bomb after bomb after bomb. Yeah. Jason Blumhouse gave him a
he had like 3 successful ones, and then it was
I'm talking after The Village. I'm talking post The Village. Yeah. Village was still successful. Whatever.
Right, but that was his first real what the hell are you doing?
Yeah, but it made sense. But at the end of after those, like the Lake in the Water,
the beach one.
The beach. Old, and then there was a bunch of them that just flopped, right? Yeah. What did he end up doing? He made all these $50-70 million movies. He had to go back to Blumhouse and make a $10 million, and he made Split. Super
But they used to say this about actors, though. The second actors start getting stale on camera, they go to the stage, and that's where they work out their kinks. And I just don't think that. But I don't think that creators are getting the chance. Not creators, but like the creatives. I don't think that they're getting.
Erica has a good point. The biggest problem with the film is that it takes itself too seriously. If it was on the camp, then it might have been fun. Maverick was in on the camp.
Yes.
The shirtless football scene.
Yes.
And it should have been more self-aware.
We got a lot of shirtless.
Yeah. Well, that's true.
But we didn't get the original Roadhouse is all camp.
Yeah.
It's total camp.
Yes.
Yeah.
You take one of the shirtless scenes from Roadhouse.
Like it's a little cheesy.
Where he's working out. He's working out on the boat, and then you have a seagull like turn on his shoulder or something to like top it off. Just to add another color in there, and how does he react to that? I don't know. Something where it's just
at the end of the day, we're shitting on this movie, and we're just shitting
cursing
on this
movie. On the podcast.
No, but I'm just saying, like, here's my thing: it's like, yeah, we could shit on this movie at the end of the day.
Stop saying that.
We're at this point, it's out the back. But no, because we're shitting on this movie.
Hold on. Start over, Gio. Get your thought out.
What are we doing on the movie?
We're taking a big dude on this movie, right? So we're shitting on this movie. No, but hold on a second. Here's the thing, man. At the end of the day, I want to come up with this final point. My final point is we can say this, it's the tech companies, we can say it's this, that, and the thing, but how much of this is the culture too? The culture is changing things so many ways that we're in a weird culture. Like things don't make sense right now. There's a lot of things that don't make sense. We all hate each other. We're all trying to make the point. Here's the point. We need
everybody has an opinion.
Everybody has an opinion, and everybody's opinion thinks they need to be validated. Sure. And again, going back to whatever you think about Scorsese, we have an opinion. Who cares about our opinion? You know what I'm saying? Again, I'm pretty sure Doug Lyman's looking at this like, okay, douchebags, you guys got 60 people looking at your shit.
He's downloading your movie right now.
Yeah.
Let's see what you got. I would put this up against Roadhouse any day.
What? The Bad Shepherd?
No, I was talking about the movie.
Oh, whatever. Who's talking about the movie?
Us.
We're talking about Bad Shepherd?
No. Against Roadhouse.
Our podcast against the movie.
Oh, the podcast against the movie? I don't know, man. It was kind of entertaining seeing.
You're saying the world's changing.
I'm saying the world's changing. There's a lot of different. I'm pretty sure
the movies used to help shape culture.
Yeah, they did.
Right.
Yeah. Right, but you can't help shape culture when culture is trying to shape movies. That's the difference right now.
Inception.
But you know how you can? You have to be connected to the culture, and what's happening is getting these people so out of touch.
we just said this, right? We go to Amazon, we're on popular movies, we're this and this and that. Yeah. None of this movie was trying to do anything. We just had a movie that was a simple movie. It was 5 guys, white, whatever the case might be. It wasn't like we were trying to let's put this token guy here and then put this token girl here and this thing. Yeah. We just made a movie that made a movie, and I think again, going back to simplicity. And again, it's not necessarily just the filmmakers or Doug Lyman or this guy or this guy. It is some part of it is the culture. The culture has become so intense and the culture is so loud that the culture is more shaping the art than the art shaping the culture. And that's what we got to get back to. And we can't get back to that when the minute time we're going to be worried about, we're not going to do this because Twitter or X or this is going to come out on Threads or this is going to come out on and
because there's a fear of offending the culture rather than leading.
Right. Like for example, why did our movie blow up? It blew up on TikTok, right? It blew up on TikTok and TikTok. But what was the TikTok? it wasn't that they gave the macro or the big influencers. They gave a bunch of individual small influencers and talked about it how they really wanted to talk about it. The audience, they were the real audience. There's podcasts about this, like how we're talking about that. There's podcasts that I find about just this movie.
Yeah.
And these kids are just talking about it and saying, hey, I kind of liked it because it was simple and this and this and that.
Yeah.
Whether they didn't even like it. They didn't, even when I get the reviews that they didn't like it, it's funny. It's valid. And okay, this is your idea from it.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, again, going back to my biggest opinion about it is it just needs to come back to support the filmmakers and the people who want to make films and stop trying to check these boxes that we keep putting out. That is all these boxes for agendas and trying to make a bunch of people happy. Yeah. You're gonna, no matter what you do, look, I have friends who hate the Joker. I love the Joker. Yeah. I thought the Joker was brilliant. Yeah. I think the Joker and Goodfellas are probably closest to me to perfect movies, right? Yep. In my opinion. Somebody can say, hey, Gio, F off. You know what I'm saying? And that's cool. That's your opinion. I didn't like Barbie. Doesn't matter that Barbie still made $1.5 billion at the box office, which nobody has done in recent history.
Yeah. Right.
Do you understand what I'm saying? So again, nobody told Barbie's culture. Like Barbie kind of was true to its culture, which is kind of what he said.
In some capacity, sure.
Barbie helped shape the culture.
Yes,
right?
It did. Certainly
Everybody
did.
was dressed in pink. Like that's capturing the zeitgeist. That's what a movie can do. Yeah. In a theater.
But it also
let's end there.
Let's end there. It also shows you that people do want to go to the movies.
Yeah.
They do.
The box office ain't showing that, but let's go.
We're talking about Barbie.
Yeah,
that's prove it. But it's not
the box office for that certainly did show it.
That box office showed it. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, last chance for questions.
All right, anybody got a question here? Let's
Eric Rudd. But what do I know? I'm an executive.
Oh, that's true. Good point.
Good one.
Shirts off in the podcast, or it's not a fair comparison.
Huh?
Shirts off in the podcast, or if it's not a fair comparison.
All right, let's go.
No, hey, it's not that kind of podcast.
All right. Well,
maybe once we all learn once we start getting paid, start sending in your donations.
Jake Gyllenhaal is not a movie star.
He is.
That's what I learned.
I disagree.
I disagree.
He's an actor.
I disagree.
Jake Gyllenhaal is a movie star.
I disagree.
And I'll work with Jake Gyllenhaal any day of the week.
I would too.
Me too.
He can play my second because he's not a movie star.
I won't work with him on Tuesdays. All right. All right. We ran really long. So thanks for joining us.
Do we have any suggestions for movies?
Let's say 80s movies since we're talking about.
Well, go watch the original Roadhouse. Nobody's going to watch it, right?
I bet you the original Roadhouse, if I watch it today, is boring as hell to me.
It's not very good.
I bet if you watch it as a group.
Watch it as the whole thing, and then this is what he comes out with. It's not.
Also,
all right,
Justin.
Oh, hey, that's a nice shirt,
Justin,
Shorty.
plug your shirt.
That's a nice shirt, Schwartzy. Where'd you get that?
I got it from Justin Tate at Justin Tate. Look it up, and you can order this.
Link in the bio. Merch link in the bio.
Oh, I like the printing.
It's good. Yeah.
All right, give me one.
Yeah. Not wearing a brassiere. Anyway.
All right.
How to get that in?
We'll see you next Sunday.
No, so weird.
Peace out.
That was not bad.